Hey everyone, and welcome to episode 55 of the Bonehead Podcast, where we talk all things Blood Bowl. Welcome back, I'm Ben, and once again I'm joined by Blood Tithe Ben.
Hello, how you doing?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Yeah, pretty good. Stoked up on caffeine today, which is nice. So maybe buzzing. But
yeah. I've got my
pretty
customary 2 cups of tea here ready to go as well.
Always gotta have the 2 cups.
And talking of things in multiples, we are also joined by Ian Triple-Pow Triplow. Ian, how are you today?
I'm fine. Hi both.
How you doing?
Enjoying my apocalypse.
Good, yeah. That's kind of like my customary opening now. It's like, hey, Ian, how's your apocalypse? And I think underwhelming was the response.
The game's like just started, and
yeah.
I'm just like, nope.
I don't know. So, those of you who are watching on YouTube, we've had a few technical issues today. I don't know why. I'm going to assume it's my internet. But hang with us. It'll be fine. And those of you listening to the podcast, we also do a YouTube version. But we've had a few technical issues. So enjoy that. Anyway, we will move on in a second. But before we do that, Blood Tithe Ben, what are we talking about on today's episode?
Today we're going to be reviewing our recent tournament, MegaBowl.
Yeah.
We'll also be looking at the prayers to Nuffle tables and also the usual games.
Fantastic. So with the prayers to Nuffle, we got called out a little bit because we talked about some bits that the Games Workshop released on the Warhammer community, the video of playtesters talking about Blood Bowl. But I think one of the things they said on there was about fouling and stuff, giving SPP, and we had a load of people comment saying that's because it's on the prayers to Nuffle table, Ben. Yeah, I was like, oh, you know what? I didn't really look at that, so thought it might be worth us spending a bit of time going through it all and seeing just how impactful it's going to be. And I think there's someone there that I really like, and Ian, there's one on there particularly I think you're going to love.
Oh, there's a few.
Wicked. Right then, onwards and upwards to Blood Bowl news. Okay, so first things first, as ever, we are going to look at Blood Bowl news. And should we just start off with the really big Blood Bowl news of Blood Bowl?
Yeah. I mean, the game. That's coming.
Yeah, the bit that made our group chat explode.
Yeah. Definitely.
It was like proper, like they just dumped everything, didn't they? They just said, "Oh yeah, okay, you want it? Okay, have it all. Everything we've said is coming. You just have it right now," which I don't think any of us expected.
No,
everything we said and more.
Yeah.
So we had the Sunday preview on the 8th of November, and they said going on pre-order next week is the game, the box set. Okay, we've talked about the box set loads of times. And also a card pack and the Necromantic team and the Necromantic pitch, the Necromantic card pack, the Necromantic dice, the Necromantic spike, and the Tree Man and the Zote. So literally everything outstanding. Everything?
I think everything they've announced. I can't think of anything
that's ever been teased.
Yeah. I think that is absolutely everything we've seen.
Ooh. Technically, not the stars that we kind of were teased on the banner. I think we talked about that where there was like a banner that they released which had like the creek or something.
Oh,
in there.
Ben, that's actually a really good point. So yes, and on the front cover of the Spike magazine, there is a section that says Star players of yesteryear return from the grave to write the next chapter in the storied careers. And there's a picture of Frankenstein, I'm assuming, on the front cover. So they're releasing the star player for the Zote, which is coming from Forge World. So we'll speculate on price in a minute. So they're going to release the Spike. We're going to have new star players, and we're going to have to wait for miniatures again, I imagine.
Yeah, it's kind of a bit disappointing having everything come at once. It's awesome, but one, it's going to be an expensive month. Two, it's like all these things we had to look forward to are kind of like, they're coming now. It's like when you get a Kickstarter that finally arrives, it's just all the magic just disappears and it goes on the shelf of shame. And then 3, it's like, well, we can't meme about the Tree Man anymore because the Tree Man exists.
That is true. I mean, I'm excited about the Tree Man mostly because it comes with a 3-star player, which isn't in the Blood Bowl 2020 rulebook. Acorn the Squirrel. What do you guys think about Acorn the Squirrel landing?
You in?
I think it's a nice bit of fun. I think at the same time as everything else is coming out, it's just a bit of an overload. But I'm always up for a bit of fun and another star player that can play for anyone.
So in this month's White Dwarf, there will be an Acorn Squirrel star player card for Blood Bowl 2020. It's a new format. I actually really like the cards. The cards look pretty cool. And yes, it's Acorn the Squirrel, who we've seen some of the stats for, but not all of the skills. But he's a movement 7, agility 2+, strength 1 piece. So with at least, what do we see? Dauntless, claws, and I don't know if we saw anything else, but yeah, it's going to be
sidestep.
Yeah,
it's like the ultimate snotling star
it's pretty
player.
good. It's actually pretty good.
Oh man, I was talking in the comments, and basically unless he's got no hands, like, because he's 80k, this is going to be a massive like change. Like, it's 80k
he's
for
like
a star player.
The only star player under 100k, isn't he?
Yeah, and if he ends up being movement 7, 2+ agility, that's a legit scoring threat. And he comes, he's
stunty, dauntless.
He's on the tree, so we're going to have to assume right stuff.
Right stuff, yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Are we seeing the first non-tournament official Blood Bowl 2020 star player before the game's even out? Yeah.
Do you think he'll get banned, or do you think he'll be legal?
Well, Grack and Crumbleberry landed, and then I think Games Workshop themselves were like, no, this guy's too good. It would be funny if Acorn the Squirrel just anyway.
Just find a friend and
Oh, it's just so cool. Anyway, it's the squirrel that comes with the Tree Man set is going to be its own star player. So the trope there is that when you buy the Tree Man, you get that star player. So the box is rumoured at £85, though. This box set with the 2 teams and the 2 star players and the 2 big guys and the 2 refs.
That's so much lower than expected.
I mean, we will know as this episode airs whether that's right or not. I'm hoping it's right.
I've seen a lot of sources, and I've seen sort of shipping things where they can just be whipped up in Excel, but it seems to be really spreading to the point where it's not really been tested yet. And we've had alleged store owners popping up in social media saying, it's 85. So yeah, it's really exciting. It is really exciting.
So I guess my question to you guys,
enough to convince.
Sorry, Ian,
it was enough to convince me to slip something else in the pre-order on Saturday.
Is that a necromantic team?
Definitely, yes.
Yeah.
Well, look, £85 for this box set is fantastic. Now, there are already rumours that they have sold out, or at least that third-party sellers aren't going to get any more than their initial allotment. So this could be the Lizard Man pitch all over again. I'm really hoping not. Really, really, really hoping not. But
you think they learned the lesson after Indomitus?
Can you imagine if this is another Indomitus? Because, oh God, even in our group chat, the guys are like, right, I just want this team. I just want these dice. I just want this. Could we get a box? Could we split it? Are we going to see scalping? And I was like, oh, I didn't even consider that. But you know what? If the box is £85 and you can shift a team for 20 quid, that's 2 teams at 20 quid, and a troll, ogre, 10 quid each, and the book, 10, 15 quid. And the star players, 10, 15 quid each. At those ridiculous prices, you're already making money, and you end up with some referees and a pitch for profit. Yeah. So that's concerning. Hopefully, it will still be £85, and there will be enough to hit the demand. Because I'm going to feel guilty trying to order multiple copies now. But it's for the podcast, so got to be done.
Yeah, it's justified, right?
No, I'll order just the 1 copy. I do really want the Black Orc team. I mean, you guys, the teams in the box. Is there one particular one you're excited about?
Oh, I'm smashing out Nobility as soon as I get my hands on it. Yeah, I'm very excited to run them. I tried a Bretonian game on Blood Bowl 2 last night.
Oh wow,
The team haven't played yet.
That's going to trigger some people, Ben.
Yeah, well, they're pretty similar. But when I was playing Bretonians, I was building the list, and I initially built it to try and be like what my nobility team is going to be like. But my nobility one is using the yoga.
Yeah.
So obviously I had to take that out, and then I just had so much cash. So I thought, okay, right, I'll put the 2 extra blitzers in, and yeah, I'm gonna miss those 2 extra Bretonian blitzers on a nobility team. Dauntless, I was up against Chaos, and Dauntless came in so often, which is not going to be there, and you have 2 less block catch pieces.
Oh,
Yeah, it's going to be pretty rough.
This is what you were saying about the right. This is why I wondered who you were dauntlessing so easily. You're like straight for Dauntless. I was like, who is there? Like, who are you playing? Is it Khemri?
Yeah, just all the Chaos Warriors.
The Chaos Warriors. That's actually appropriate. How about you, Trips? Either one of the teams take your fancy?
See, the problem is both of them look a bit of fun. They look like they'll be a great match off against the 2 teams, and I do seem to end up with Griff every once in a while in a team, so I can't wait to get the stars.
Yeah. Have you ever been to a tournament and not taken Griff?
Once.
Oh, that was Tombstone.
That was when I didn't know what star players were.
Hey, we've all been there.
Discovered Griff.
So we've got the box coming out. The rules are going to be separate. So this is something that's really good. There is evidently a whole bunch of tens of thousands of people out there who already have Blood Bowl teams. So if the box goes out of stock and you can't get hold of it, you can still get hold of the rulebook or the digital rulebook if you don't already have a digital copy. So if you need the rules, you will be able to get the rules. Which
you talked about the design earlier and how cool it is. I think it's really neat that like the French, Dutch, Russian players all get like country themed cards. Like they get to like show off their flag every time they play a card.
So the cards have got the heavy blue, white, and red theme. And yeah, Ben's right. That's just the France flag, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Great.
Well, Rich Saxby's teams will be very happy.
Yeah, that's actually bang on. He always does blue and red.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
He's got that one colour scheme. So there is a card pack coming. It is just called Card Pack. Oh no, it is called Special Plays. Okay, fine. That's just a weird way to market it. Looks like it just straight up replaces the old one. I'll add it to the order. We'll have a look and see what it's about. Cards are mentioned in the Blood Bowl 2020 rulebook, so it makes sense that they would have more cards, and it does really definitely look like they are going to be ousting the old ones, which someone asked us on a video. They were like, hey, are the old cards being outlawed? I was like, well, I don't think there's a lot of them that are restricted based on edition. I mean, you guys, I don't know if you've used the cards much, but I don't think there's much in there that would stop you if you were just playing at home or at your league or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
as long as you talk to your opponent beforehand, you can agree things. It's when you just turn up and got 5 cards in your hand.
Yeah, these are my cards. I still do think there should be some kind of menu for you to choose from, but we've talked about that before. Yeah, I mean, you end up using the same deck anyway, don't you, between players? So I think basically they were like, hey, do you use cards, and are the new ones replacing the old ones? And we were like, I think we used cards a couple of times, but some of them are garbage and some of them are amazing, and it just seems really swinging and not worth it. You're better off getting a reroll for the cost.
And particularly with the star players being cheaper now, we're going to see people heading towards them for inducements instead.
I really think so. It's quite funny because, for a league, you kind of want to have a bank of star players available to share, but COVID says no to sharing, so not ideal. But the lockdown has kind of ended our league for a little while anyway, isn't it? So
yeah, there's a more manageable amount of star players now as well, I think. And if they start bringing out more plastic kits, I think it's not going to be too long before they're easier to get hold of if you ever need them for your team.
Yeah, I think you're right. I'm a big fan of that. I mean, what was there? 20 star players, I think, something like that. At the moment. But it looks like Frankenstein and a werewolf guy is at least coming for Undead, and I think Bryce the Slice, the artwork for him is out as well. So that's at least 3 more star players coming for Undead. Plus,
is he the chainsaw one?
Yeah, based on Bruce Campbell from the Evil Dead movies, which are really good fun. one of my guilty pleasure movies. I think Evil Dead 3. That and
Guilty pleasure.
Yeah, it's
What, Army
just
of
so good.
Darkness?
Yeah, Army of Darkness.
That's
is
amazing. Don't feel guilty about that.
That and The Mist are just two films I watched repeatedly when I was younger. Have you guys seen The Mist?
No, is it just the groovy?
It's wicked. Basically, it's about a magical mist that descends upon a town, and these people are in a supermarket, and that basically everybody locks themselves in a supermarket while these demons patrol outside and like break in and do things. It's just got one of the most horrific endings of any movie ever, and like it's just gut wrenching. And I made Tiff watch it the other day, and she was like, "This film is horrific. Why would you do?" It's just had a proper go at me. I was like, "Okay, maybe we won't watch this one together." Anyway, The Mist, 2007, incredible film, terrible CGI, but it doesn't matter.
Newer than I expected, though.
yeah, no, you watch it and yeah. Anyway, the whole point of that is that horror movies into necromantic team, and the necro team is landing at exactly the same time. So there was a lot of people actually speculated this, because when they did 2016, it was the two teams plus Skaven at the same time. I was not expecting it to be literally at the same time. Were you?
No.
I think I was, because I think everything's been delayed. As an experienced player, it gave you another team to get your hands around, and it's a hell of a fun team to look at as well.
Oh, it really is. There's a bit of a divide, excuse me, because it's what we would call a stylized team in some ways.
It is a bit, yeah. I think there's some key pieces that are kind of like undoubtedly amazing. I think the flesh golems are genuinely fantastic.
They are so good.
Yeah.
A
couple of the zombies are.
I'm gutted that you can only take 2 flesh golems. I'm looking at this. I'm like, I wish Games Workshop were okay with me buying 2 boxes to run 4 golems. Like, I know it would perhaps make the team even stronger, but I just don't think it would have hurt anybody to have extra of these models. Now Kemri's gone anyway. You need the extra multiple strong pieces. I don't know, maybe the Black Orc team's filling that point. Anyway, I am 100% picking this team up just because I have to. It's just so cool.
Yeah, likewise. I am going to swap out the sheets. I do like the models, but I just feel like I'd rather have a ghost. I think like an actual ghost.
You've got some nice ghosts lined up though, haven't you?
I do, yeah. But these all make awesome team markers. I think stick them on the gravestone or a bigger base, and I think it'll actually look pretty cool.
What about you, Trips? What do you think to the ghosts?
I quite like them, but that's more of my stylized style, I would guess. I like a bit of fun in my miniatures.
No fun allowed. Get out.
Yeah, the thought of painting them is slightly freaking me out.
Oh, you kidding me? Just Nihilak Oxide. I know it's a bit glowier than it said the pictures is, but that would be a solid way of doing it. I actually like the sheets. The one I don't like is the ghoul.
You don't like the ghoul?
No. Like, I like the Judge Death helmet. That's wicked. But the pose just makes him look like he's got insanely long arms. Like,
he does, yeah. But he's a ghoul. He's all lanky and gross.
I just prefer the undead ghouls. So, hey, that's the great thing about this team is you've got a lot of crossover. Not as much as you used to. I know that's going to upset some people because the the whites did get gone and replaced with wraiths. But if you've got some zombies painted up, you've got some ghouls painted up, you're on the way there. And quite frankly, if you want to use your skeletons from your undead as zombies because there's only one lineman positional, that's not going to cause any problems anywhere, I don't think.
I think also some like if you had like a third party necromantic team, I've seen a couple and they tend to go down the route of like more ghostly characters for the whites. So they would transfer quite nicely into this. I'm thinking mainly the Grebo one is really good.
Yeah,
and I think that uses like ghost whites, like female white banshee kind of.
Characters. Yeah. Punga has got some absolutely lovely wraith banshee kind of miniatures. So when they've delivered their vampire Kickstarter, they'll be available for order, and I think there'll be some shopping going on there. So yeah, this team I think is looking great, and there's 14 in the box again.
Yeah, like the undead.
Yes.
Really cool.
Yeah, which is quite impressive given that there's 8 positionals in the box.
Yeah, I think it was required. I don't think they could have been stingy on this one. Just with, like you say, there's so many positionals in this team, and then you also need zombies. So.
You can't afford it. Like, you cannot build a team using all 8 positionals. I don't think it's mathematically possible. For a million anyway. So, well, it might be, but there's no rerolls, and that's going to be a fun game. So yeah,
short game.
yeah, a bit one-sided. Although the werewolves are pretty sweet. So yeah, we've got the Necro team coming as well. The pitch is pretty cool. We haven't seen great shots, which is a bit of a shame. There's pumpkin on one side. It's like a pumpkin graveyard.
Yeah, I like the center token, like the smiling pumpkin.
Yeah, you don't get a very good shot at it. So far.
I just have a big issue with this. My massive issue with this is they are releasing this at like the furthest possible time away from Halloween that it could be now. Because we've had Halloween. It's over. It's like releasing like a Christmas team on like January 10th. It's like it's gonna be ages before people are gonna use this in like a theme. If this was like 3 weeks earlier, Games Workshop, it would have been amazing. Halloween was on a Saturday. Everyone at MegaBowl would have picked one up.
Exactly. And that's what the original rumor was, wasn't it? And I don't know. Like, I think maybe, like Ian said, so many delays they had to jam everything together.
Maybe, yeah. It's just this Halloweeny pumpkin pitch.
I'm with you.
Just think it gives you 11 months to paint it for Tombstone next year.
You only need one Friday night. That's all you need. I tell you what, though, I love the dice. Again, you've got that. What's the Nightmare Before Christmas? What's
Jack Skellington?
Yeah, it's that's the kind of the face is reminiscent of that, and that's a Christmas movie, Ben. So there you go. Got some.
That is true. Yeah, maybe that's the plan all along.
Yeah, Nightmare Before Christmas on the Blood Bowl pitch. I can see them. I can see them shooting for that. Anyway, excited for that, and very excited for the Spike magazine. I can't imagine there's going to be any changes to the Necro team in that magazine. Can you imagine?
Yeah. Let's not make any.
Let's not bait fate here. Yeah, it turns out they're turning them into whites again. They just flip flop straight back.
Wow.
They kind of did it with Underworld this year, didn't they? They were like, boom. You lose your blitzer, get a gutter runner, but it's a rubbish racist gutter runner that doesn't like anybody and doesn't get mutations. Just enough for all the Underworld players to just feel absolutely destroyed. And then they turned it up to 11, made all the Skaven best friends, gave you a rat ogre and some snotlings for the lols. Like, that's honestly, Underworld got so lucky this year. I just can't imagine. It's like having your star quarterback injured and then replaced with someone even better because snotlings. Cool. So we got that, and we've got the tree. I think the tree is actually a lot smaller than expected. There was a shot of the tree on a pitch with halflings, and
he is short. Yeah,
it's only like 3 halflings tall.
It's an ambitious strength 6, and But then, we're also used to putting like actual giants on the pitch.
Yeah. But, my Ent.
Yeah. I think what made it seem short to me was we saw a picture of the render in Blood Bowl 3, and they used this exact tree man sculpt. And he is short in that as well. Like he's only just a little bit above the dwarf.
Oh wow.
Yeah, well, because as in like bulk as well. He doesn't stand that tall. Like, I think even the ogre is like matching. Yeah.
Maybe it shrunk in storage for 6 months.
Yeah, maybe.
See, trees need
6 months. Did you not know?
Yeah.
Remember the tree man?
This is where the gaslighting comes out. We're going to upgrade our old tree man model. Now comes with it. This second edition comes with the squirrel star player. No, I think it's cool. I mean, we're going to have to pick one up just to have a look at the size and everything. And it's quite a cool model. Yeah. I think it is better than the Deep Root model.
Yeah, I prefer it, I think. It's just got the stylized factor. I know we kind of use that word a lot, but it's
the most cartoony model I think they've got.
Yeah. That's for the necromantic team.
Exactly. the Warlords of Erewhon trees just still stand out by a mile. I mean, they're £15 for 3, but also each sculpt is individually better than this one.
Yeah, this was, I think, rumoured 18.
Yeah, 18 sounds about right. And the Necro team, I think, was 26 RRP as well, which is exactly standard. The spike and everything else is exactly how you'd expect it to be. And then, of course, most importantly, issue, is it 458 of White Dwarf that's coming with the special cards? Yep, that's the one you want. Oh, and of course, Zolcath the Zote.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think it's a pretty lovely model, guys. What do you think?
It's a lovely model. It looks really nice. It's definitely one you want to pick up, although is he a great star?
That's my one concern with this guy, is that as a star player, he's 230k, only plays for Elves and Lizardmen, and Elves and Lizardmen are renowned for never having petty cash or anything. So, and as a tournament, because they're expensive teams, 230 is going to be difficult to fit him into a roster as well. However, I think this dude will make a fantastic Croxigor miniature.
I agree.
Because we don't have one of those either.
I just think it's beautiful. Like I saw this model and I was like, this is one of my favourite sculpts from Games Workshop. Well, technically Forge World, and I'm not even kidding. Like I don't know what it is about this, but I really like this model.
It's a weird thing to say because it is a Lizardman Centaur, but it looks natural. It looks like it's always existed, which is really cool. Ben, you called it there. It is going to be Forge World, so it's going to be about half the price of the entire starter set.
Yeah, that's very.
I
don't think it'll be that much. I don't think it will.
What's Deep Root though? Deep Root was 42,
I think.
Yeah. This guy is probably not Deep Root sized, is he? But so 30 something?
I could see 30.
I can see 35 or 34 because it's Forge World.
Yeah, I think he appears to be on a 40mm base. So he's pretty hench.
I hope that's 40.
Yeah.
I don't.
It looks like it with the height.
Oh, okay.
32 tend to be a bit taller than that. I think looking at the necromantic team. If you look at like the tree man, the base feels different. It feels longer.
So Ben, is the reason you love this model because he has clearly got Khorne Juggernaut armor pieces on him?
He does. They're really cool. I think this would be awesome just in any like chaos anything. Yeah.
One of the
cool.
one of the other pickups is that people now want a Zote team.
Yeah. Get some skinks and then a cheap team that can afford Zote star player.
Zotes and Skinks. That would be a very sweet team. It makes no sense, and they should bring back Slan, but Zotes. This is a lovely model, and I think it's worth a painting project kind of pickup, but I don't think it's ever going to see the pitch unless you want to use him as an ogre. Use him as an ogre for your team. You know, that's the cool thing about big guys and star players, is if you've got a one positional, like you could run this as the Chaos Ogre. Like you can, if you're a packed team or whatever, you can fit him into a team. You could run him as a human ogre. You could run him as a nobility ogre or a troll. You could run him as a big guy in any team. I think.
Especially the Crocs, like you said.
Yeah, the Crocs is the most straightforward one.
The Crocs is the cool.
But then some people have got the Fanath Crocs now, so I don't need it.
That's true.
Isn't that right,
Cool.
Ian?
Yes, yeah, on my desk.
That's what I thought. Brilliant. So, Games Workshop news-wise, I think, and they've got the Blood Bowl books coming out, but they're reprints. I think that's it for Blood Bowl, and I think that's going to be it for Blood Bowl for a little while. And I think...
You've got enough to keep us busy, though.
I was going to say, I think that's okay. An entire new edition.
So for
dropping at Christmas / in a lockdown. It's going to take a little while before we really get to feel out the kind of meta, or at least experience too many leagues, because I just think it's going to be a little while before we can get to the tabletop again. However, playing in the pandemic is something that we are going to cover when we talk about MegaBowl, because we did sneak a team in literally just before lockdown, completely by happenstance. So there is a way to play Blood Bowl in the gentlest and safest of tiers. So I don't know. Maybe it'll be all right. News-wise, we had one more bit. Is that right? The 3D Fantasy Football Dugouts Volume 1 by 13 Bad Luck. That is a catchy name. So this isn't live yet? Ian, did you say there was some stuff on Facebook?
Yeah, he stuck a couple of pics on Facebook when he announced it. I think it goes live on the 11th, so it'll be live when the podcast goes up.
Fantastic. So this is dugout/display bases, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
And
these are really cool. Yeah. I'm just having a flick through these. We've kind of got like there's different themed backs with the actual dugouts on. So you've got like an undead theme, you've got like a chaos theme, and then they've got like spaces at the front for your teams and like circular bases.
Okay, that is actually very cool. The link doesn't work. Never mind.
Audio listeners, if you search for 3D Fantasy Football Dugouts, you should be able to find some pictures of it.
I'll put the link in the show notes as well, and you can kind of see. I've got the pictures of there, at least their logo thing. So yeah, I like the way they've done it. They've got variable sizes. I mean, you guys are you're both printer guys now, and Ian, you've got experience printing actual tiles of a Blood Bowl pitch. Is this going to be? Is this for your resin printer or the plastic printer?
I reckon you could probably print this on a plastic printer, looking at the detail.
I wouldn't do a resin one with this, it would just be too big.
Yeah. So we don't know of prices or anything yet then?
No, it'll all come down to price. If it's a sensible price, then yeah, this weekend's going to be very expensive.
It depends when the campaign finishes. That's the most dangerous thing about Kickstarter, is you can jump on, you can be like, I'll put this on, and you forget about it, and then and then it's like, why has Amazon taken £75 from me? I'm like, yes, because I went in on something. Cool. I mean, I think this is a great idea. We saw a few of these at MegaBowl, I think, where people had become prepared with mini dugouts that they can just transport their teams around in, and then they've got their dugout ready to go on the pitch. I think it's a really clever idea. I think it needs magnets.
They've even got like, I think it's like a clip. Looking at it, like they sort of clip into each other. But I was going to say, like, it's basically they've got like areas where you put your teams, and then they've also got like a score tracker, and you can like clip off your team board and clip on the score tracker when you play your game, which I think is quite neat.
Oh, that is cool. Well, it would be good to have a look at this when it goes live, because I'm a big fan of Blood Bowl Bling, and it's nice to get something like that. It's a pretty tough time at the moment to be trying to pump out, I think, anything massively Blood Bowl. There's a couple of bits floating around. I think I saw a Slan like spoiler team literally before we recorded, but it's an upcoming Jobby What's It. It's from the guys who did that grotesque Nurgle team last month. I mean, well executed. The Slan team looks really good. Unfortunately, quite savagely, someone immediately put in the comments, I think it was like the fourth comment down, like just in time for them to disappear off the face of the earth. Which is
Slan is a risky one, isn't it? Because like that was already on a knife edge of like, some people just say no, that team doesn't exist. That was already the case.
It's such a cool team though. It's so sad.
You played it the other day, didn't you?
I did. I played 2 games on Fumble because I just wanted to get it in before now. Anyway, we've covered everything for news. We'll take a very quick break and we'll be back with hobby and games and things, and I will bore you all with Slan superiority. Okay, it's hobby and games. So we'll start with Ian. Have you played any Blood Bowl recently?
Have I played any Blood Bowl recently? Well, there was obviously the MegaBowl games, which we'll pick up later. But we've had club night before lockdown came in, and I played two lizard games a couple of weeks ago. They were really good fun. Like the lizards a lot.
Now, is that 2020?
The 2020. I love the chameleon skinks.
Oh, fantastic! I haven't got lizards to the pitch, but I am obviously very excited for the chameleons. Are they as good as promised?
They are, because that extra skill gives them the kickoff return skill effectively, but also then the pass block as well means you can really fly around with them. So
Good combo.
just gotta.
You actually got pass block to work.
Standing up.
That's amazing. Who was throwing things?
That was against a throwing orc team.
Oh, Dan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know who it was.
Oh, yeah.
We were literally going, right, what in the rule book have we not tested?
Let's try a
That's
deflection.
awesome, though.
That is really good. What was the result? Did you win? How did it go?
That was a 1-1. 1-1 with a very, very messy second half where I think the ball moved about 4 squares, but I think we both had about 5 casualties. You put orcs and Saurus all together in a block, and nothing's going to happen.
Oh man, that's awesome. And now, Dan, there's always a good game, and there's always a lot of casualties and a ridiculous amount of completions. So tier 1 versus tier 1, landing at a 1-1. I would have given the edge to the lizards there, but you can't give an edge to anybody who's played against Dan, to be fair.
Good coach.
Good coach and just unexpected tactics, I think, is probably the best way to describe how Dan plays.
I don't know if I mentioned the game. I don't know if I mentioned this in the last podcast, but a couple of weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago, I played against him with my Khorne as like a send-off.
Oh, against his ogres.
He was trying, his new ogre team that he's painted up in lockdown, and that was like the toughest game against ogres I've ever played. Like, I thought I was gonna just rinse him with my Khorne, but he just kept tagging the bloodthirster with snotlings, man, and he just broke the team apart.
You know what? I think Sam, when he took Khorne to Fobble Wobble Cup, he played against. Did he not play against the guy playing ogres, the Squid Ogre team?
Oh yeah, he must have done.
And didn't ogres give him a really hard time because of all the little guys sidestepping and just frenzy leading people around?
That was it. Yeah, I was thinking just I swear I've heard of this happening before. But yeah, frenzy against snotlings. You're getting like 6 block dice against them. You're statistically meant to get a POW, but if you don't, it's terrible. They just do it. They just do what they like.
Completely out of position. Oh, that is fantastic. Right, so we've got some good games here for Blood Bowl 2020 from Ian. Ben got a good bye game with Khorne. And like you mentioned earlier, I've got 2 games of Slan in. I don't know why, but all of a sudden Milton and Sam were like, oh, could we try out Fumble? It's like, yeah, absolutely, I'm around. Tips at work, let's get some Fumble games in. And I was like, well, I want to say goodbye to Slan. And Milton ran Undead, trying to get some reps in with his Undead team. And I can't remember what the score was. I think it was 2-1-0, 2-0, something like that. But Slan, this is obviously 2016 rules where leap is just their agility, and it was just so much fun just jumping over guys on a 2+. Got my 4 rerolls, got my 3 agility 4 catchers who are also amazing throwers because they're agility 4. It's literally like the team built for 2016. If that team does port over, it's going to be awful, which is such a shame because the catchers aren't going to be able to throw because they've got the catcher word, which means they're basically going to be passing on a 5+. And
do you reckon if they were to rebuild the team, they'd introduce like a thrower?
That's interesting. Actually, that would be interesting. I think what's more likely is they'll just give them the pogo skill or the froggo skill, as I call it, and just let them bounce. Nerf passing like they have done with everything else, and just give them all the pogo skills. So at least they're leaping the same way. That's all the team needs. It would take a bit of a nerfing, but everybody's taken a nerfing. Just ask the Dark Elf coaches. I think that would be all they need. So I got that game in, and then I played against Sam, who wanted to say goodbye to Kemri. And
very fair.
Yeah, it's not a good matchup. Kemri just cannot do things with the ball. and having a couple of agility 4 guys running around, flying through the air is just wicked. So had 2 great games of Fumble with Slan. Even one of them was against Kemri, and yeah, it was good. We've had a good month of kind of getting the most out of Blood Bowl 2016 with MegaBowl and a bit of Fumble and Corn. It's just wicked.
You guys feel ready for the new season now, new edition?
Well, it's here. It's here. Yeah. But for me, we're going through this horrible lockdown thing, but even take that away, I haven't been on Blood Bowl 2 since it got announced. I don't think I have. Like, someone commented the other day, I was like, hey, you're not streaming at the moment. I was like, well, don't. Blood Bowl 2016 is kind of dead to me. Like, it's a horrible thing to say, but I don't really want to go and chuck a load of hours in on Blood Bowl 2 because I'm just going to be learning things that don't work anymore. I don't know. How do you guys feel about that?
I enjoyed saying goodbye to it at MegaBowl, mainly because there's only so many rule sets I can hold in my head.
And we pushed it. MegaBowl was all the broken rule sets in one go.
Yeah. Glorious.
Absolutely wicked way. I'm so happy with that. I'm so happy with the timing. I'm so happy we got to play. I'm so happy so many people came along. And yeah, we will talk about it in the next segment, but I kind of regret not playing, although I still don't think I don't think Ben and I would have been. I don't think we would have been allowed to play because of the way the rule of 6 works. But it would have been lovely to get Slan on the pitch for that tournament to say goodbye. Or maybe not goodbye. I don't know. There's a guy called Flick McConnell who's basically transferred every team from Fumble into 2020 stats. I haven't had a chance to look at it. I think we should probably do a deep dive in an episode or 2.
Work there.
Yeah, Nuffle's work. See if we can't get him on, actually. Just make sure he's okay. So yeah, got to do that. How about some hobbying? So we've had a tournament, so I'm assuming there was some painting going on, Mr. Triplow.
Yeah, there was definitely painting. Well, I decided to change my roster about 10 days before MegaBowl. So having had 6 months to prep a team, suddenly deciding to throw the Snotlings in was very relieved to find they were really as small as everybody said. So that wasn't too bad.
That's just one coat of contrast, isn't it?
Pretty much, yeah. One evening and spashed that theme out and looked at the pump wagon and thought, no, I'll come back to that another day.
Oh yeah, that'll give you something. That'll give you something to do. If the box sets on it. Sorry.
Yeah, I've started basing an orc team, which a friendly 3D printer printed out for me. So loving my orcs of the Pirate Bay.
It's a very cool team. It's very cartoony. It looks like the artwork from the rulebook, to be fair. In form. And I think we had a chat about this, didn't we? We said that the model's almost going to paint themselves.
Yeah, they went from being a team that I was quite interested in to I think I'm going to run Orcs as my second team now.
Really?
Mainly because I've got some really sweet miniatures to get on the table.
Well, could you
give you a few more of those actually? There's a few more to go.
Could you not fandangle a couple of extra Black Orcs and dual wield the team?
Yeah, you could mirror them as well, so they're slightly differently posed.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. That's a remarkable benefit of 3D printing that I don't think I'd ever considered, Ben.
It's great when you have like lines of like, let's say you want like, I had zombies. I was printing zombies and I had like 6 zombie sculpts. Then you mirror them. You've basically got 18 because when they're all lined up like a rank, you really don't see that they're mirrored because just different arms are different places.
Oh, that is cool. Genius. So
you need a 3D printer.
Yeah, it's on the list. It's on the list.
12, not 18. I
assumed you
some good maths there.
I assumed that some were upside down as well. That's wicked. Have you got any hobbying, Ben?
I have done a bit. Yeah, I finished my Warcry team. My Far Eastern themed free guild, which is quite exciting. Quite unique.
Very unique.
I'm looking forward to running them.
Showed them off on Whip Wednesday last week.
Yes.
Your freehand flower work and stuff is absolutely gorgeous.
A couple of them I messed up on, but I haven't taken reverse shots of those ones. But yeah, there's they were good fun. That was a nice little project. Been working on some Underworlds as well. I'm basically trying to get all the games we've promised we'll play when lockdown ends, which we absolutely won't. All these games that we all these games are just like, right, I've got to have. It's kind of like my goal, I think, is I want to have something painted for every game. That whenever this game is played, I'm just like, yes, I can bring my painted thing out. But the trouble is I start them all and I never finish any of them. When it comes to playing a game, and I've never got it painted because I've always got like 1.5 minis done.
I'm right there with you. When it came to filming Blood Bowl 2020 games, I was like, yeah, I got loads of teams, and literally one of them was painted like to a 11-man tabletop. I was like, I play sevens for days. I had just my Skaven team. That was it. I was like, oh my goodness me. But
the novelty wears off in these things so fast.
Underworlds is, however, a great pick. I also picked up I keep calling them teams. They're warbands. So this is for Warhammer Underworlds, which is a miniature / collectible card game disaster of a game. That it looks really good. Ian,
fun.
Yeah, I was going to say you're down the rabbit hole as well.
Yeah. Went down the rabbit hole. Had a couple of test games with Rich, and despite having only read the rule book an hour beforehand, it was good fun, and the entertaining of whoever slaughtered the most characters lost the game.
Yeah, I like Underworlds. It's a really sweet time spot. I love sevens because you can get a game comfortably in an hour. Realistically it's 45 minutes, but Underworlds is 25-35 minutes, isn't it?
Yeah, it's three
crunchy
games
as well.
in a club night, easy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a real sweet spot in these days, and that game is online as well, so you can play that.
I think it even has all the teams now. I think.
Yeah, and
actually, don't quote me on that.
And it's current as well. So I think that's kind of like Fumble is. We don't know when it's going to be updated to 2020. I know they're doing work to do it, but we don't know when it's going to be updated. And obviously, until BB3 comes out, we're going to be in that weird. We're going to be in that weird middle ground where we're not allowed to play games with each other, but all you can play online is the old format. Going to be really, really strange for like 3 months, I think.
Yeah, I think, but I mean, I guess it's okay that everything's kind of on a standstill at the moment. It's very understandable. There is no rush for these things because obviously, kind of everything is on pause at the moment. So.
Yeah, it's true, and it is interesting timing with the actual box game landing, isn't it? Because basically only the people in Wales are going to be allowed to play it, and only if they're outside.
Yeah,
gives everyone else a chance to at least paint it.
Well, that is a really good point. Although I think we've all demonstrated that unless there's a tournament, it's not going to happen.
I've sworn on Nobility, I'm going to paint these guys up in one session, like start to finish.
Now
we'll stream it.
You've made a bit of a head start with One Piece, there, haven't you, Ben?
With that is true. Actually, I've got him here. Oh, I thought you meant the show. I'm just like, where are you going with this? No. Yeah, I've got a little ogre here. He is printed. He's probably not going to show up very well, but it's a pirate ogre from Titan Forge. But he looks jolly noble.
Well, you
got a
say
feather in his cap.
He's a pirate ogre, but he looks more like a conquistador ogre.
Funnily enough, the file is literally Conquistador Captain.
There you go.
It's from the Ogre Pirates Patreon. But yeah, he's really cool. There's a couple of issues that I'm probably going to change up on him. I was going to paint him in advance of the Nobility team coming, so I kind of like test the scheme.
But the window got a bit closer now.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, and there's a couple of additions I'm going to make from the kit. So I'd like the tokens have like griffins. So,
yes.
They've got like long wings. I'm going to snip one of those off and put it on his breastplate so it kind of blends in with them a bit more. And also maybe add some like green stuff feathers. More feathers. because I think you need more feathers.
Well, I think this team does need more feathers.
Yeah.
I'm
excited.
That.
Really, really fun. I just don't think the ogre that comes in the box really fits the team all that well. But he will make a great generic ogre as like a star.
So they've done a good job with the paint scheme of blending the ogre in with the team, and the same with the troll. But the troll looks really small compared to the Black Orcs, so I'm mega excited to see how big the Black Orcs are.
Yeah, and the Blood Bowl scale is pretty big as a whole, isn't it? I think like, especially as the teams have come out, it felt like it scaled up somewhat.
And then scaled down when they did Wood Elves, and then just carried on going up again. Because Wood Elves are like a head shorter than Pro Elves. The Pro Elves are oversized, Wood Elves are undersized. It's a bit of a shame. But they're still fantastic.
More nimble.
Yeah, exactly. They're fantastic models. Like that's the difference between AV7 and AV8. No, sorry, AV8 Plus and AV9 Plus. Got to stop that.
Yeah, got to get to the new vocab.
New terminology.
Yeah, get told off for not saying marking and things like that. Wicked. I'm excited for that. I'm with both of you. I like all the new teams. I think I'll paint the Necro team first. Because I know that I think you and Ian Warhammer Hannam are going to paint up the two teams for the box. So pressure's off.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, the pressure's off on that one, so I can just focus on the lazy boy paint style that I've seen to have absolutely mastered recently. Of pick a coloured primer, use that, and paint just on top of it, which I'm very happy with. As for my hobby bits, I mean, if you guys are following the YouTube channel, you see on Whip Wednesdays. Every week pop up what everybody's been working on, so if you send us in what you've been working on and put it on the show, it's quite cool to look at what everyone's doing. And I've painted more recently than ever before, I think, except tournament, but it's just a complete mix of things. Bits of Blood Bowl, bits of Man of War, got some 6mm fantasy knights on the table.
Yeah, they just arrived, didn't they?
Yeah,
you recently got those.
I couldn't resist. I know that the guys on the channel who are mostly Blood Bowl, well, entirely Blood Bowl, but they were just so cool and so small.
Everyone loves stuff like that. Like that's no matter what your interest is, you're gonna see tiny knights and you're gonna think, yeah, that's pretty.
Yeah, so I've been painting my guys. And they're just brown and agraxed at the moment, so it picks out the detail at 6mm. Then you just like spot fill the colour bits, and that's it. Chuck it on a wicked base, add a load of different bushes and things. It's just done. Oh, it's so exciting.
You're actually very good at that. Every time you post a whip, I'm actually inspired to paint, because your method of spraying brown and agraxing is awesome. But like you say, it picks out the details. It's just like you do that and you post a picture. I'm just like, I want to paint that model, because you see exactly where things need to go. The brown is a neutral base. You can put any color over it, and you could just leave the brown if you wanted to, and it's basically just now leather. It's great.
I've splashed out and used green as well recently. Thank you though, Ben. Yeah, I've got the Fanath Dwarf team, and I'm going to go for the green undercoat. And that should do the same thing. I've got Games Workshop did a Warhammer community post called like Our Teams or something, and they had this dwarf team, and the dwarf team was on the plastic Age of Sigmar bases. I don't know whether it's like Shattered Realms or something with cracked
Shattered Domain ones.
That's it. Thanks, Ian. Yeah. So naturally, I picked up a set to base my dwarf team with, because I thought it looked quite cool from a dungeon point of view. So when I was spray painting Tiny Men brown, I spray painted my Death Roller from Fanath brown as well. Got a 40mm Shattered Domain base, and I'm going to do that team just for the sake of it, because I kind of want to paint those guys, because they're kind of like Imperial Dwarfy. I think they'll go really well with some humans from the Nobility team. So I'm kind of gonna tie it in, and paint both teams up at the same time, and then have Old World Alliance and Dwarf and Human Nobility kind of all ready to go, which I think is one of the really big benefits of Old World Alliance. It was because I was doing the team review, I was doing the tournament rosters, and I was like, oh yeah, this is kind of fun, and this way I can run the Death Roller as an ogre and not hate myself for using the model. It's such a lovely model, but the Death Roller is just
a really good model.
Oh, I mean, we talked about Zolcath not being cost effective, but imagine paying 60k less for a player you get for 4 turns.
Not ideal.
Yeah.
I'm wondering,
Poor Death Roller.
I haven't actually built any of the GW halflings, but is their head size similar to a human? You could put those nobility heads. Oh, are they not? Are they smaller?
No, they're massive. They have massive heads.
I know GW like big heads, so like I thought maybe it's like.
Yeah, I need to track down the halfling head with the squirrel riding around on it.
Yeah, seen that. That would be a really nice acorn.
Yeah, exactly. Just a severed head with a murderous cornate squirrel. I thought it was brilliant. I'm gonna have to go rummaging around in the spare parts pile to see if I can find the halfling sprues from several teams worth of headless halflings because I did the chaos stuff with them. So you never know. I might be able to hook you all up with some acorns. So I think that just about wraps it up for me for hobby and games and stuff. Is there anything you guys haven't touched on?
I think that's it. Yeah, it's feels like it's been a slow month, but then I've got an entire like warband done since the last podcast, so maybe it's not. But everything's just going really fast.
Oh, I tell you what, we'll take a real world blip here. It feels like time is so slow. Like, what are we recording? We're recording on Tuesday. The announcement for Blood Bowl came out on Sunday. We had Acorn yesterday. And it feels like it just feels like a long time since that dropped. And we talked about this when the Snotling team came out, Ben, didn't we? Because we were like, oh yeah, remember when Snotlings came out 9 days ago? And I don't know, is it the lockdown effect, you reckon, guys?
I think the lockdown is having some crazy stuff. I think it's going fast. I think it's going stupidly fast. Like, MegaBowl was nearly 3 weeks ago, and like I had a day off work like literally a week ago, pretty much, and it's just like that feels like yesterday.
MegaBowl was 10 days ago, Ben.
What?
It was only 10 days ago.
Yeah. Was it? I thought it was 3 weeks ago.
No.
I don't know what's happening.
This is exactly.
Oh yeah, it was Halloween, wasn't it?
But that's exactly my point. Is that was 10 days ago, and we're like, oh man, that's so long.
Oh, maybe
ago.
You're right. I think it's going fast, but it's actually going slow.
Oh, it's absolutely crazy. Well, let's hope the next few weeks don't go slow, and that we do all get our Blood Bowl 2020 box. I mean, we don't know if it's going to be open for a 2-week or a 1-week pre-order, do we? Have they said?
I would assume 1 week.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
the usual pre-order period.
It is. If that would be extremely exciting. If it's just 1 week and it lands on.
Stores have already been getting copies, haven't they? Or as in like allocating them. So I would assume it's.
That's cool. I thought I read somewhere that they were going to do a 2-week pre-order period for it.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know. Having it by Saturday the 21st would be pretty lovely, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
That would. Have a quick look at the.
Actually, that'd be super lovely.
Out my Saturday morning to go and collect it.
Yeah.
I think that's okay. I hope it's the 21st because that's my weekend off. So we could do some. That would be pretty sweet. And Tiff works every Saturday, so I will just have to paint Blood Bowl. Which will be terrible. Anyway, talking about playing Blood Bowl on Saturdays, let's take a quick break and talk about MegaBowl. So, as Ben pointed out beautifully a moment ago, it's only been 10 days since MegaBowl, but it feels like a very, very, very long time, where we travelled back in time and unlocked all of the crazy rules that we have loved playing in Blood Bowl 2016, and we had a tournament. All of these things that are now dead to us all. So we hosted MegaBowl. We hosted MegaBowl on the weekend that we would have hosted Tombstone, which is our horror themed tournament. We had to cancel several tournaments throughout the year, and rightly so, for safety and lockdown reasons. So we bundled them all together, and we ended up having a 4-round tournament with 2 games of 11s, 2 games of 7s, using a selection of teams, including mixed rosters and a bunch of horror themed teams from the Fumble, Secret, and Stunty leagues. There was almost 500 teams to choose from, and 2 different game modes in one go. So we went deep. I mean, can you guys think of any Blood Bowl rules that we didn't use for this tournament?
2021.
Yeah.
Legal procedure.
Yes, we didn't. No one likes that guy, even in 2020. And yes, so we had everything going for us, and it was on the 31st, and we snuck it in. They announced lockdown during the last round, didn't they?
Yeah, during the tournament, everyone was just like, right, we got to pack up and go home, boys.
Literally during the tournament, it was like
Yeah.
Boris is making an announcement at 4, and now it's 5, and we're like, okay, that's fine. Let's just finish this round quickly, guys. So we had the tournament. We had it at Entoyment, and we Pete, the owner of Entoyment, superb guy, superb crew. Actually, it's a great shop. They take the COVID spacing and everything really, really seriously. They know it's important for them to get it right so that they can continue being open. We know it's important to get it right so we can continue playing games. So we ended up splitting into groups of 4 or 6 because of the rule of 6. So we ended up having 3 separate groups having mini tournaments within it with an overall scoring thing and an individual group win as well. So we're just kind of going to have a chat about how it went, and I think the most important thing to do is talk about the safety element to start with. So Ian was playing in one of the groups. Ben and I TO'd. So Ben was going to be the odd man out, and somebody dropped out. As actually Stephen Knowles couldn't make it, unfortunately, which was sad because we like Stephen, but also kind of good because he was planning on bringing Demons of Slanesh, which is an absolutely terrifying team. So people escaped the Edge 4 Strength 5 Claws big guy. So there's a benefit there, but yeah. So Ben and I ended up TOing. Ian played very well, and yeah, it was an interesting day. So if tournaments open up next year and the rule of 6 remains in play, I mean, I know we've got this vaccine potentially now, which could actually fix the world, which would be really lovely. It's likely that group play will have to carry on. I mean, what do you reckon to that, guys?
I think it. I don't think that's the end of the world. Like, I think it will have to carry on, especially if we have some earlier tournaments. But it worked well, I think.
I mean, it was. Sorry, Ian, please carry on.
It just made for a really nice dynamic because effectively you had a small group of people that you spent the whole day with, and you got to know them. You had a bit of fun. Everyone had come with a very safety conscious attitude, and it just worked.
That's a good thing to point out, and thanks to everyone who did come, because we had no issues. Like, everyone fully understood and was perfectly happy following every rule. It was never an issue, and it was awesome. So
everyone
big
was
shout out to everyone who turned up,
so on board, and it was yeah, you're exactly right, Ben. It was awesome. Everyone was just so polite and like, right, can I do this? Can we do this? Where do I go? Like, what's the rule here? It was awesome. It was lovely to see. What we ended up 16 people, I think, in the end, who were all just so excited to play Blood Bowl, but so conscious of doing it safely. And it was a really awesome event. And thank you to everyone who came. And sorry for those of you who didn't come in the end because of a myriad of reasons. Like, 10 out of 10, respect them. Like, I was really chuffed.
That's absolutely fine.
Yeah, absolutely. And we kept saying this, that, look, if you don't want to come, you don't feel comfortable, that's absolutely fine. Like, no problem at all. And I mean, part of Ian finishing off his snotlings a couple of days before the event wasn't necessarily entirely down to, the change of roster, as much as it was the fact that we kind of didn't expect to be able to run it.
No. Spent the entire week watching the tiering guidance going, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it.
Yeah, and we did it. We did it safely, and it's now 2 weeks later, and we haven't had anything bad happen. So touch wood. So that's really good. Being safe, turns out, helps. Sorry, America, but wearing masks and staying distant, and washing. Will do its part, even if it's not 100%. So that's really cool. So we had groups, and Ian said there it was cool to have bunches of people and little groups. As a TO, for me, I just the right thing to do. But I did feel bad because the downside of those groups is because it was 4 rounds, there was people were going to have to play twice. So especially if there was a small group of 4, and because of the way, honestly, because of the way 6 landed, what we ended up doing was just repeating around for those guys as well. So everybody who went played somebody twice. So just to try and make it kind of fair. So what we did was we repeated round 2 and round 4. And the exciting thing about that was that round 1 was 11s, then it went into 7s, then it went into 7s, and then it went into 11s. So whoever you played in round 2, you played against in 7s, you then played a full game of Blood Bowl. So how do you guys think that worked out? I mean, Ian, you played, and you played a heck of a game 4. Very important. How was that dynamic? I mean, did it work?
So I think it really worked because the teams played very differently in the 2 games because it was 7s and 11s. It really changed the dynamics, and I don't think there was any advantage or disadvantage to having played the team before. It may have added a bit of spice to some of the games if you had your I'm going to get that player this time.
Is that what happened to Hackflem in your game 4?
Hackflem got killed in both games.
Oh.
But, that was clearly an easy tactic looking at the roster.
Fantastic. So, from a safety point of view, from a group point of view, obviously it is always risky doing stuff. However, it's one of those really difficult things. And Ben and you and I, we had many chats about this because on the one hand, it did seem a little bit kind of like, should we be doing this? The government says it's fine, and health and safety says it's fine, and we're following all the rules. And quite frankly, I'm further away and more spaced out from people here than I am when I'm at work 40 hours a week. So in that regard, it was fine. And we did it. And we went for it. We supported the tournament, and I think it was a good outcome. And groups worked. I mean, Ben, it was your first time TOing. Well, first of all, how did you find that?
I think it would have been more useful at Beachhead if I was there, because that was like 40 coaches you were playing and you had to manage it on your own. I think with this many, I don't know, it was probably, to be honest, like I had a great time. And Toyment, if you've never been, is like heaven in their downstairs. They've got every board game imaginable.
Oh, it's
I spent a long time looking at games thinking, right, which one do I bring home? And like researching them. Like I saw a game, like, oh, what's that one like? And I'll do a little bit of research and stuff. So I had a great time just browsing when the games were in full swing because everyone knew what they were doing. I had no problem whatsoever being on standby. I knew that was the case. And so like it was just good to see people. And you know, human contact has been very limited. I think it was awesome to just at least be in the same room as people, have like a chat, and just see Blood Bowl going on. But I'd love to TO again if you'd like that, if you'd appreciate that. Even if you wanted to play a game at some point, I'd happily do what I can. So.
I actually think it was very useful to have you there because we had to group out things. I feel like it was actually more involved than even Beachhead. Like Beachhead, entering the scores was difficult. There was no questions. But because we were playing in an environment that was just so weird, and quite frankly, with rule sets that was just horrifically weird, which I thought was delicious. That actually having a second TO, even for a tournament where there's only 16 players or whatever, made it work really, really well. I think, I felt bad you didn't get to play because you brought the Ware team, and it would have been amazing to see that team get out. But we've got to crack.
I'll bring them in something else. They'll get added to 2020 in some way.
Absolutely right. So let's have a little bit of a recap. So Ian, what team did you take to MegaBowl?
So I decided to go for the fun theme of saying goodbye to 2016. So I took a mixed team because why not take a mixed team to the tournament? And I took a humans and snotlings mix. Although to be fair, it was very much Griff and his friends, Little and linemen. So I took a team of mainly human and linemen, a human thrower. Lots of snotlings and a couple of fungus flingers with both having Hail Mary, which was a lot of fun. But
With the full artillery barrage.
5. Oh yeah, full on tier 5 team, so pretty low tier, but yeah,
It
Griff
was
balanced.
your
It's
first
not
game.
things.
Your first game was ridiculous, though, Ian, because you played against Gary, didn't you?
Yeah.
And he was running, I think, just straight snotlings.
He was running full on snotlings with riotous rookies.
And I came over, and you just had like bombers at either end of the pitch, and every time I came over, you were scattering, knocking people down. It was ridiculous. Like,
Yeah,
I remember seeing the
we worked
dugout
out
space was
just
facing the
chaos. I think we
reserve and
worked
like
out we
casualties.
threw
Yeah. Well, I'm talking over you. You carry on. I'll shut up.
Right.
Go ahead, Ian.
We worked out we threw over 25 bombs in the game, and yeah, as he said, nearly half of both teams ended up in the casualty box.
Ridiculous.
So that was round one. Now that was something that really echoed Bonehead Bowl last year. Was just that there was just big guys and bombs everywhere. This year there were big guys and bombs everywhere, and it fit perfectly, and your game basically summed it up. An absolute treat, Ian, for that first game. So you won that game, I think.
Yeah, I won that one 3-0, and I think I got 8 casualties, which was a new
Yeah.
personal record.
Yes, you did. So you
But
actually got perfect score for round one. Sorry,
Yeah.
Gary. And then who did you play in the second round?
Well, I just on game one did just pick up another personal best as well, with a troll lumbering in for a touchdown, having the ball bounced on him and he caught it. They did have to go for it into the end zone with a troll, which didn't feel comfortable.
Yeah, it's never a certain thing. So you even went so far as to get the troll touchdown.
That's insane.
Yeah, well, Griff was there to score the touchdowns, but unfortunately I bombed him out myself, so I had to go for the second ball handler, which was the troll.
Which was the troll. That's
Yeah,
all you had
obviously.
left on the team. Oh, that is absolutely fantastic. So that was your first 11s game. Then round 2 went into 7s, and the rules for this one were you used your standard team. You just picked X players, where X was essentially 6 plus your tier, I think, or 5 plus your tier. So you were tier 5, so you probably would have had 10 people on your team or something. 9, 10. Yeah. And you just played a game of 7s with that. So we knew that it was going to be a super powered 7s. Rerolls were halved as well. But straight up, you got to play against Dark Elf and Skaven by the reasonably fearsome Coach Logan.
Yeah, and it was a nasty team to play. A Dark Elf, Skaven. Well, either of those teams in 7s is not fun to play, but there were a lot of positionals and Hackflem.
Yeah,
it was a pretty scary sight on the 7s pitch.
So he had 2 Witch Elves, 2 Blitzers, a Gutter Runner, a Skaven Thrower, a bunch of Skaven Linemen, and Hackflem. And in 7s, 2 Witch Elves, 2 Blitzers, Gutter Runner, Skaven Thrower, and Hackflem as the lineup. With a leader in there as well.
Yeah.
Oh man,
every player could win the game.
Yeah, a team that I think that mixed team is one of the most brutal combinations out there. I remember facing it last year against the same coach with Hackflem and against my trolls, and yeah, it just literally ran circles around.
So I can second that actually Skaven and Dark Elves as a combo team are fantastic in 7s. I got very lucky and pulled those in Hangover Bowl this year. And ended up sweeping because it's just an awesome combination. And yeah, Hackflem does not make things worse. And he's one of the top rated stars for the next edition. So Hackflem is going to stay very, very, very relevant. What was the outcome of the game, Ian?
So I lost that one 2-0. Yeah,
That's
thanks
not
to
bad.
Griff dropping a 3-square touchdown pass in the end zone with a reroll.
That's brutal. So lost to Logan in that round. So let's just ask the question here: how was the 7s format using an 1100 build?
So I think it was really good. I think I changed the team between the two sevens games and took a
Yep.
different lineup in the second game. Because I'd gone very heavy around the single star player. I think that was really exposed as sevens, whereas Logan's team of positional stars was like a super strength sevens team, and he played it really well.
Logan absolutely knows what he's doing. So this was one of the biggest risks of the day, was that actually sevens is brilliant. It's quick, it's kind of light Blood Bowl, and because it was clued in, there was definitely a chance that it could have ended up ugly and clunky. But everyone seemed to be quite enjoying it, and I don't think it would make a good permanent format, but I think mixed in with 11s, because you be playing with the same team, I think it was all right.
Yeah, it was like
I think it
sevens
worked well.
on steroids.
That is exactly what we were going for. So that was your round 2, and then your round 3. You played against Paul.
Yeah, so Bretonians and Amazons.
Yes.
2 more goodbyes.
2 more goodbye teams. So it's nice. It was wicked to see Paul and his little lad, Josh. They came down from quite a way away, I think, just to kind of. I don't think they were maybe seeing family, and just happened to coincide with the Blood Bowl tournament. But it was absolutely awesome to see both of those. And Josh, I think, 9 years old, played superb on the day, and it was great to meet Paul as well. So, yeah, Bretonians and Amazon, another double tier one. How was that? How did that match play out in?
So that ended up 1-1. It was a much tighter game. That one I took both the bombers. So I successfully argued a call. So I pretty much had a bomber for the entire game, and that made him really spread his players out, which took a lot of the effectiveness of the team away.
That is fair.
Bombs flying everywhere. You just can't afford to lose too many players.
And that was it. Because it was a tier 2 team, they had 7 players total. So every casualty you scored, they had no one else to put back. And I'm assuming because you had snotlings, you snuck a few on with swarming as well?
I had a snotling to swarm on all the time until the snotlings touched anyone, and then they explode.
Well, that's true. But hey, tackle zone is a tackle zone, right?
Tackle zone is a tackle zone. I did get one snotling blitz in, I think, at one point, which
Yes.
I'm
Amazing.
very proud at.
Yeah, that's the dream right there. So that was wicked. That was your and then of course round 4 was your rematch against Logan. Now, before we pest it in to tell us how that match went, we need to set up a little bit of background at this point. So we had 3 individual groups, and within each individual group there was an individual group winner, but there was also an overall match going on, like an overall score going on. And going into round 4, Rich Saxby was tied at 91 points, I think, or 101 points. 101 points with Logan. So Rich, you'll all know, was our original co-host of the podcast and a bit of a Blood Bowl machine. So, and he's a wobbler. So it was very much a count of like, Ian, you need to hold off Logan so that Rich can take overall. And Ian, just talk us through your mindset going into that match at that point.
Well, to further make it interesting, I knew I was in for a chance of the casualty win, mainly thanks to the 8 in the first game going into the last game. So I thought this was a good time to try and get some casualties and kill some Skaven along the way.
And you absolutely pulled it off. You got the revenge in 11s and held Logan to no touchdowns. Still 3 casualties. I'm assuming that was snotlings.
I did. My bomber, having not fumbled a bomb all day, decided on turn 1 to fumble a bomb and kill himself, which was a little bit disappointing.
Hey, you made it 3 rounds without that happening. That's impressive.
Something that really made me laugh was in that game when we put in our wobble chat. We said, you said, Ben, Logan needs a perfect 36 to win, and Ian replies, just he's not going to get it with the power sign. I just thought that's brutal.
He's not going to get it. So Logan played so well in the tournament, so well, and Ian just denied it. Just made a superb teammate play there, and held him to a 1-0 loss. So Ian swung in there, got the win, scored the 34 points, held Logan to 3, which allowed Rich to swoop in and take overall at 136 points. So I think he ended up about 8 points shy of a perfect score, which was
crazy,
insane. Now, Rich brought his little lad, brought Randall, Killer Randall. I'm sure you've all heard about Killer Randall. He earns that name. And what was quite funny is they were in the same group for, just living together, so wanted to be in the same group, which makes a lot of sense. They ended up playing against each other as well. Was that round 3? It was round 3 because they were almost neck and neck with scores at that point, because I think they both won or they ended up just having to play. So Rich and Randall had to face off each other, and Rich came away with a 2-1 beat, so had to beat his own son to go into that last round with a
he
massive
shows no
score.
mercy, and that's why Randall is such a good player. Like,
seriously,
Randall wiped the floor with me with his chaos storms. He is very good.
He is really good. So Rich ended up taking it, but I think highlight for me was round 1. In this group, we've got Rich and Randall. We got Josh, who's Paul's boy, and we had Jack, Thomas, and Adam in the group. And Josh and Randall end up getting paired, and they're on table 1. So I've got all my TO stuff sort of at the edge. And these two kids, I'd say kids, they're Blood Bowl, they were coaches. These two coaches sat down, deployed their teams, and they did an incredible job of talking each other through what was going on, because this is a ridiculous tournament. And Josh took the Zinch team from Secret League, so not even a regular team. Randall was running half Chaos Dwarf, half Skaven. So they both set up. Randall's like, yep, this guy's got this guy's got this guy's got this guy kills stuff and he does this. It was really cool. And then Josh is like, right, I've got this team and these little guys are basically snotlings, but they actually work like this, and this guy's a Minotaur on a 5 and 6, and they just absolutely powered it out to start this day in a ridiculous tournament. And I've never seen just two young coaches just absolutely own a ridiculous format and then go and play some solid games. Randall won his first game, drew his second, lost to his dad, and then won his last match 3-0. Randall just had such an absolute rampant day and ended up, 4 points short of 4th place. He ended up 8th, but it was 80 points, and then it was 82 points was Mr. Triplow in 7th, and Joe Solo 83 points in 6th, and then 4th and 5th was Simon and Paul at 84 points. So, he did so well, and Josh absolutely powered it through 4 games, 2 of them are 7s, and just played like an absolute hero. And he never gave up. He just kept playing and kept playing and kept playing. And honestly, I am terrified to meet either of these in a tournament going forward.
Yeah. It was so awesome to watch. They knew what they were doing more than I did. And I was supposed to be like a co-TO. It was really cool to see. Also, Josh won the first spot prize of failing a GFI in the end zone.
Loved that. Absolutely. So Ben did an absolute solid and printed some very, very lovely miniatures. And one of them was a set of essentially Grack and Crumbleberries. And the first spot prize was, failing a go for it into the end zone with the ball. It's kind of like... it takes the edge off potentially losing a game on the worst roll imaginable. So we had we did something different with our prizes this time. Normally we've got like a prize order and overall and does this, but because we had individual groups, we wanted to spread out the prizes. So got a bunch of Halloween bags and basically just put one prize in each bag, and then in order of sort of success at the end of the day, everybody came up and selected a bag at random, and so they had like Grebo star players and Thanath star players, obviously Windsor Chog, and some awesome stuff that Ben had printed as well. But we did, for the spot prize, Grack and Crumbleberry. So yeah, Josh fails that, and give him this little spot prize, and he opens it, and his eyes are lit up because he's now got this awesome thing that he earned. And yeah, it was just awesome. So that was the highlight for me. It was just Josh and Randall just scaring the heck out of me, because these are not normal teams. These were not normal teams, and both these coaches held their own, and I've got 20 years on them, and I know how well Randall plays. And to watch Josh take on every opponent with a team that doesn't exist on tabletop, only exists on Fumble, he'd never played it before, and again hold his own and just play solid, was just awesome.
I think it would. I don't know if he said, but I think he was the only one to bring a secret.
He was, yeah,
which is awesome.
It would have been Stephen Knowles would have been in there as well.
Yeah.
But yeah,
of course, yeah,
and obviously you with your Ware team. But no, that was very cool. I'll tell you what we'll do quickly. We'll do a quick roll call of the teams and the coaches, just to give you an idea of what we had registered. So Bloodtithe Ben with the Ware team. We had Simon Merton, one of our local guys, and a bit of a tournament pro. Lizards and Wood Elves went straight in for the tier 2. He did end up, unsurprisingly, winning the touchdown award with I think it was 9 or something on the day. Kind of expected a bit more, but I think it was just tight competition. Paul Andrews, that's Josh's dad, with Amazon and Bretonians, and Josh Andrews with Zinch, doing a solid job with that team. Adam had Snotlings. Gary took Ogres and Snotlings. That was it. I think that was one of Gary's first tournaments as well, which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
We had Old Trips with Human Snotling. Jack with Dark Elf Vampire. That was a wicked team to watch as well. Jack did a superb job with that. And talking of superb jobs, Joe Solo with his golf-themed Goblin Snotling team. He went double stunty, and I think actually won the Stunty Cup. Which
it's always worth going to a tournament that Joe's going to, because you know he's going to pull something ridiculous just out of nowhere, and it's always like the 2 days before he's just like, oh yeah, I've just ordered like I don't know, like I can't even think. It could be anything. Like I was expecting, when he's a golf themed, I was expecting literally a golf ball, just to represent something. I don't know.
I wouldn't have put it past Joe. And he also came in tied for best team as well, which I'm again not surprised with. David took Orc and Skaven. That was a powerhouse of a team. Tom took Halflings, straight Halflings. This was that was the gentleman, I think, who was a tree man short. Ben, is that right?
Yes, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, really cool to meet him. I think he travelled really far as well. We had a couple of coaches travel very far for this, which we really respect and really appreciate.
It's awesome. So good to have people down and play some Blood Bowl. Hopefully they had a good time. There we had the Crudies. We had the Creedies. We had Drew with Wood Elves and High Elves. Again, that was his DC superhero team, and came tied with Joe for best team. And unsurprisingly, Drew does some absolutely brilliant work. Logan, who is a heck of a coach with Dark Elf and Skaven. Richard Saxby with Orc and Ogre. That was a fun team. Went and won the whole thing, only 4-0. And Randall with Chaos Dwarf and Skaven. So basically, everybody went in on doing crazy stuff, and it was just so awesome. Given the climate, the commitment there from all of the coaches was just superb. I think I could probably name some cool stuff about every single one of these teams, which is just such a highlight for me. And that's we don't go. Well, I say we don't go big on tournaments. Obviously, Beachhead was 40 at the beginning of the year, but our entoyment tournaments are like 16 to 20 coaches, but everybody gets involved or brings something. I mean, Trips, you went in, you were like, I'm going to do this with Griff, but also going to bomb stuff. Like, it's just awesome to see the commitment that the coaches, it's just committing. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
So
had such a good time. I'm so glad we were able to do it. Gonna miss it, but we might be able to do it in the not too far future. Be really good, because we'd love to do more.
That's it. We will miss it. We will miss the format of Blood Bowl 2016, and I think Ian said it at the beginning. What it was a really good send-off for some crazy formats. Right, guys, is there anything else I've missed? Anything else you want to cover before we move on with MegaBowl?
Just one last shout out to Entoyment. Thank you so much for hosting us.
Yeah.
A cool store as well. So send them some love. Thinking of picking up the new edition maybe. So save a copy for us and then consider.
Yeah, Entoyment are a great store. Always recommend them. They've done a heck of a job growing their ecom this year, and they're in a really solid place now, and they do a very, very good job. And pretty much their Games Workshop prices match everybody else. So yeah, if you want to support the show and you want to support Entoyment, we would be massively appreciative, because they help us out, allow us to run great fun tournaments, and love it. Fantastic. Let's move on to the prayers of Nuffle. Okay, so we rightly got called out because we talked about fouling and things, giving SPP, and we were like, have we missed something? Have Games Workshop missed something? No, it turns out that we had, in fact, missed something. It wasn't really missed. We just not bothered looking at the prayers of Nuffle because we were like, oh, that's cute. But yeah, apparently it's actually quite important. So what is the prayers to Nuffle table? We thought we'd talk through it here. So the prayers to Nuffle table is like a kickoff table, but it's a D16 result, although there is a tournament version. What are they calling tournament versions now?
Exhibition play.
That's it, Ben. Thank you. Which is a D8. And basically, it's just like, it kind of feels like special play cards, but light. Like they're restricted. And there's two ways they come up. So, in league play, but not in exhibition play, the prayers of Nuffle table may often be used during the step of the pre-game sequence. In both league and exhibition play, it may sometimes be used at the start of a drive. During this step of the pre-game sequence, the coach of the underdog team may roll once on the prayers of Nuffle table for every full 50k difference in team value. So, if you don't buy that keg, you're going to get a roll on the prayers to Nuffle table instead. And the other way of doing it is on the kickoff table, a result of a 6, which is cheering fans. Both coaches roll a d6 and add the number of cheerleaders. Coach with the highest total immediately rolls once on the prayers to Nuffle table. In the case of a tie, nobody gets to do it. And if you get a result that's currently in effect, you got to re-roll it. So cheering fans used to be a re-roll. It's now been replaced with a roll on the prayers to Nuffle table, which is actually quite cool. So let's have a look at the prayers to Nuffle and just see how much of an impact it is going to be. We're going to start off with the full table.
Before we start, I have a very strong feeling about this prayers to Nuffle table, and anyone listening, I can imagine will work it out, or if they've seen this before, think what it is that I'm going to say at the end, because I have a very strong opinion on this, which I will wait until it's all done.
I'm intrigued.
You guys might know what it is. Yeah.
Okay, here we go. So, right, I'll start at the top there, guys. Number 1, Treacherous Trapdoor. Until the end of this half, every time any player enters a trapdoor square, so until the end of this half, anytime a dude goes on the trapdoor for any reason, so pushed, whatever, roll a d6. On a 1, the trapdoor falls open and the player is immediately removed from play. Treat them exactly as if they'd been pushed into the crowd. If the player was in possession of the ball, it bounces from the trapdoor square. So you're 50k down, you roll it, it's a 1. Now the trapdoor is dangerous terrain. So on a 1, your player just goes and ends up in the... that's both trapdoors. So on both sides of the pitch. So on a 1, your guy disappears. How impactful do you think that is?
I think it's pretty impactful. It will change the way you move up the pitch. Like you want to go on the side that it isn't. I think one big thing that's important to point out is this is really awkward if you don't use a Games Workshop pitch.
Oh, I hadn't even considered that. However, one thing I would say is if you need trapdoors, the Azurite Ruins kit for AOS, it's got some treasure chests and it's got these little grates, and the little grates are about 40 mil square and they will make perfect trapdoor squares. But yeah, I mean, it's Blood Bowl terrain, you know, it's we've landed the whole, you get completion SPP for throw teammate. Now Blood Bowl terrain is next on the list, and they're getting there. Trapdoors is as old as Blood Bowl, or are as old as Blood Bowl.
It is very cool, and you could always use like a little token.
Yeah,
I guess
it's
you just have to remember what it is.
It's going to be absolutely fine. Ian, what do you reckon?
I like it. The problem is it's on a roll of 1, so even if it happens, the chance of it happening is pretty small. So
Yeah,
you're only going to find someone being accidentally frenzied into it really come off as something to do, because you're just going to stay away from the trapdoor, aren't you?
I can see it being a little bit of a gotcha. I can see good guy Lewis, one of our local players, completely forgetting about it and then running his ball carrier over the trapdoor, only to then fall in it. I can see that happening. I bet money on it, actually.
this one is a big tick on my reasons I don't like the press Nuffle table, but we'll save it to the end. I'm going to let you know this is a big one.
Okay, number 2, Ian, take us away.
So number 2 is friends with the ref. So until the end of this drive, you may treat a roll of 5 or 6 on the argue the call table as a well when you put it like that result, and a roll to 2 to 4 as I don't care result.
Oh, that's kind of massive for some teams, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, especially if you think about the teams that are going to have a low TV and rolling on this table.
Oh, that's exactly it. Although those teams normally have half-price bribes, but I don't know if you've maxed out on 3 bribes and you roll on this and you get this, even if you don't, it kind of encourages you to put, just go for a jolly good stomping. You cannot get sent off as a head coach. You can't roll the 1. Oh no, you can. It's 2 to 4 as I don't care. So you can still get sent off, but it doubles the chance of you just escaping it. Man, this would be the best roll imaginable for anybody.
It's only
with
for a
secret
drive.
weapons. It is
One
only
drive.
for a drive.
You get 1 foul out of it, and
1 foul, just stall and foul, and you've got chains. For secret weapons. However,
I'm thinking. I'm thinking turn. Ignore me.
yeah, no,
I really
that would
completely
be
misread
that would be rubbish.
Yeah.
But if you've got secret weapons, this is pretty great. I could see this being really useful. All right.
Or you had a death roller and you managed to keep it on for a second drive.
Yeah.
Then you've already lost because you took a death roll.
No. I thought we discussed this. It's just a massive flex. It's like, I can beat you even with 170k spare, and you know what? I'm going to drop it 50k as well and take a prayer to Nuffle. Maybe that's the ultimate flex: is taking 3 prayers to Nuffle at the beginning of the game.
Pretty good for also people who took the new piling on, or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Or whatever it's called. Like, what is it called?
Pile driver.
Pile driver.
Yeah, it is. That's going to be very useful. Okay, BT, number 3 for us.
Third one is Stiletto. So randomly select 1 player on your team that is available to play during this drive and that does not have the loner trait. Until the end of this drive, that player gains the stab trait.
This is the one I thought of you when I saw it in.
I love a stab. Love a stab.
Because of your K-Knight team. I mean, stab is the skill I would love to be able to choose to take on a player. It's not great. Even if you've got a team of stabby people, it is not great. But as a free roll for an entire drive, for some teams, this is going to be very useful.
It immediately gives you some kind of threat on like a team that's stunty, like ogres or snotlings or something like that. And a snotling now who has stab is like genuinely quite scary.
Yeah, and quite frankly, the best way to take a Minotaur out is with a stab or a chainsaw. Sorry, Ian.
If you randomly get the right player, this is going to be really handy. But if it goes on your big guy, you're going to be absolutely distraught.
Exactly.
Yeah, that is
annoying
true.
that it's random.
It is, isn't it? But probably more fair that way. I like that. Somebody gains stab randomly for a drive. Iron Man. This is number 4. Choose 1 player on your team that's available to play during this drive and that does not have the loner trait until the end of the game. This player gains +1 AV to a maximum of 11+.
I mean, that's just awesome. That's handy to have. Like, you roll that, you'd be like, yeah, awesome.
My gutter runner is now AV 9+. You get to choose, and it's for the whole game. That makes this result actually really important. Like, this is probably one of the better ones to get, because it's just going to help you out. Now, this is the full-on league list, but even in a tournament situation, this is absolutely fine because Hackflem at MegaBowl, he becomes armor 9, armor 8, armor 9 plus. Roxana gets an extra armor. That's armor is incrementally better, isn't it? Because it's a bell curve, because it's 2d6. So every one armor is better from a percentage point of view, or at least at limiting the amount of success, isn't it? So armor plus is actually really huge. So I like that. That's not bad. Ian, hit us up with number 5.
And number 5 is Knuckle Dusters. Choose one player on your team that is available to play during this drive and does not have the loner trait. Until the end of this drive, that player gains Mighty Blow +1 skill.
All right, so this is drive, and until the end of the drive, doesn't have loner. That player gains Mighty Blow +1. So I think I read that if it's it's choose, so you can't stack it, you just have to choose a player that doesn't have Mighty Blow. So not the best for an ogre team.
You can choose one with Mighty Blow, but won't do anything.
yeah, this does not resolve. I don't know, what do you guys think about this?
I think it's really cool. This is another one which is solid, and it links well to the one above it, Iron Man, and why Stiletto, where you get randomly stabbed, isn't so great, because just being able to choose, it takes out that random element. It's like, cool, I get a 4 or a 5, I improve my player. And this is tied into why I dislike it, some of these things, because it's just like, you just choose it, and you have it there. Just simple.
What do you reckon? What do you reckon, Trips?
So I really like this one because I think you're playing an underpowered team anyway, so this gives you a little bit of a chance to level the game. That's always going to be something you'll be happy about.
That is a very good point, and I'm sure it's not just because you're thinking this would be sweet on my witch elf, because it would, because it's a strength skill and it's going to take some SPP to get there in the new one. Right, what's up next?
Next we have Bad Habits. Randomly select D3 opposition players that are available to play during this drive and that do not have the loner trait. Until the end of this drive, those players gain the loner 2+ trait. Loner 2+.
Ooh, okay, so that's nerfing. So on the plus side, I mean, loner is an extra die roll, and the whole point of Blood Bowl is making your opponent roll more dice than you because they're going to roll more ones, and more ones is more bad. So in that regard, it's pretty cool. It's jolly swingy, D3 players, so you could swing this and just end up with 1. But there is a card on Fumble, I think, that does a very similar thing. And it's not as good as the Pit Trap on Fumble, but it's not bad. But I think that would also give you Bonehead. I don't know.
I'd rather give them Bonehead than Loner 2+.
Because there's always a chance.
Yeah, because Loner 2+ just is not really gonna, like, you fail. You try to use a reroll on them, you just roll a 2+. You can. It's not that detrimental. It's not like having Mighty Blow for a drive, which is great.
Yeah, it's definitely not like having Mighty Blow. Could be super important. I don't know. Greasy Cleats, which is number 7. Randomly select one opposition player. So randomly select a player on the opponent's turn that is available to play during this drive. That player has their boots tampered with, and until the end of the drive, their movement is reduced by 1. Oh, what do you think?
Having movement reduced by 1's always going to be annoying. It's always going to be on the player that you need 1 more square to do something useful with.
That is true.
Yeah, there's an element of reality to that situation that is that I'm quite uncomfortable with. Yeah, I mean, on the one hand, I'm like, I wish I could choose. Why can't I choose the player? Because I'm going to choose a player that's going to be still fast normally. I'm going to choose their movement 9 player. I'm going to choose their movement 8 player. I'm going to choose their movement 3 mummy is now movement 2, and I'm going to knock it down. Now it's just going to be a random zombie. And that zombie's going to go down to movement 3, and nobody is going to care. But I think Ian might just have worse luck than most people, I think.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, so that's Greasy Cleats. Ian, would you take away number 8?
Number 8 is Blessed Statue of Nuffle, and that's choose one player on your team that is available to play during this drive and that does not have loner. Until the end of the game, that player gains the pro skill.
Man, that is huge.
Yes.
That is
And
really huge.
that's a choose as well for a drive. So
No,
you know,
it's choose for the game.
Choose for the game. Thank you very much. That's a lovely one.
It is.
oh yeah, sorry. You choose that Zola to play during the drive and then till the end of the game. Yeah, sorry.
So if they're
Well,
knocked out,
yeah.
they are not eligible. But otherwise, you just choose somebody and they get pro. And there's not even a restriction there on a loner, is there? Oh, it is. Okay.
Yes, they don't have the loner, so that's what I mean. It'll be great on a big guy, I think,
That's important.
but you can't.
Still, well, there's a lot of big guys that don't have loader on the low TV teams. Well, I say a lot. There's trees and ogres. All right,
True.
the trolls do, but you know, still trees and this is all right. I'm okay with this on an ogre team.
Yeah.
So when it comes to tournaments, whatever it's called, exhibition play, it is just 1 through 8, isn't it? I think we can
Yes.
flip the screen.
But all of these ones we've said are in exhibition play, so
Yeah.
you can use these in tournaments.
So in
There's got a
exhibition,
big-
yeah, I was going to say,
Yeah, sorry,
it's,
carry on.
you just roll a d8 and it is just the first 8.
Yeah.
And it's only on the result of a 6 on a kickoff table. Brilliant fans. So those are the tournament ones. I mean, should we go through the rest before we kind of talk about what we reckon?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, let's go through the rest.
Okay, then take us away with number 9 then, Ben.
Okay, we have moles under the pitch. Until the end of this half, apply a -1 modifier every time any player attempts to rush an extra square. -2 should it occur that both coaches have rolled this result. This one can stack.
This is brilliant. Okay, so this is super fluffy. I am one of the worst players for rushing. Like when I play with my Black
This
Orcs,
is,
my Black Orcs are movement 5.
Clarify, rush is go for it, right?
Yeah, rush is now go for it. There's been pitches, there's been weather where is it the blizzard? It is blizzard, isn't it? Where go for it was one less. That was always massive. I mean, getting -2 is absolutely horrific. I mean,
Yeah.
it's thematic. Until the end of the half doesn't make a lot of sense. I suppose the groundskeeper comes over and resets it all.
Moles the moles. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, what do you guys think of this effect?
This basically eliminates go for it. Like, I think you are way less willing to try it on a 3+.
Yeah, anybody who's run humans or elves knows there's a massive difference between a 2+ and a 3+.
You are failing that roll. You're just not making that roll.
Yeah. Especially if you try it twice.
It's just
Yeah,
it's a tough one.
big deal, this one.
Yeah. Right. Number 10 is perfect passing until the end of this game, till the end of the game. Any player on your team that makes a completion earns 2 SPP rather than the usual 1 SPP.
So this is like clear why this is a league only one. You kind of a lot of these you'll start to realise why they're not in tournaments. But yeah, this is pretty cool. I like this as someone who loves the passing game. You know, anything to
Get
boost that.
those extra SPP. Right. My spreadsheet is not going to enjoy this. Because what do? Do we record it as 2 completions?
2 completions.
I think, but that's.
I think so.
I think you have to record it as 2 completions. Yeah, I mean it is quite cool. Perfect passing until the end of this game. Any player on your team that makes a completion earns 2 SPP. So this, okay, I like to try and be positive wherever possible. But if I'm pulling this with my Skaven team or a Pro Elf team, I'm not playing a game anymore. I'm just playing keep away because I'm getting skills. I'm getting skills.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to spend 8 turns passing the ball to myself and just getting all the SPP. That is massive.
Yeah, doubling. It's doubling it, which is huge.
I mean,
like-
level with me, guys. Is this just me gaming the system super hard? Like, is
You're turboing your team. You go in a TV, you're coming out going, I might have lost the game, but I got 20 SPP out of it.
exactly? I mean, everybody goes for the glory pass, right? At the end of the half, I'll just try and get a completion, get the extra SPP. Why not? Just go for it. If you gave, I don't know, man. I think when it's more SPP to make 2 passes than it is to score a touchdown, the way I'm playing this game changes a little bit. In League.
Oh yeah.
Unless it's a must-win match, at that point it's like, it doesn't really do anything for me. But if this is game 1, 2, 3 of a season, I'm playing.
Level up your thrower in 3 turns.
That's it. I'm playing Piggy in the middle, and you're the Piggy. Ooh, I like that one. I like that. Ian, would you hit us with number 11?
And number 11, same theme really, is fan interaction. Until the end of this drive, if a player on your team causes a casualty by pushing an opponent into the crowd, that player will earn 2 SPP, exactly as if they'd caused a casualty by performing a block action.
Okay, guys, what do you think about this one?
Brilliant. I mean, we introduced this into tournaments a couple of times, haven't we? Where you get casualty points for crowd surfing and stuff.
Yeah.
I think this is really, really cool. And as a Corn player, who sadly won't be able to take the team to the new edition from the get-go, this is great. Anyone with a Minotaur is going to love this.
Anyone with a Minotaur is going to love this. So, on one hand, I just think this should be the rule all the time. Like, I know it's not the same, but as far as the crowd is concerned, they're just there for the violence. And if Griff runs over and punches a guy and he dies on the ground, or he punches the guy and he falls over and dies on the ground off the pitch, they're still going to love him. So,
exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's going to be really neat. I don't think it's going to come up a lot, but it's going to be fun.
Roll 6 on the kickoff table, Ben, and you can have this in every game.
Yeah, I mean, I like that.
I think one thing though that's sort of like this a secret, like it's not really explicitly said, is maybe this will change up the game in a way that one team is now going to want to shift play to the sidelines, and the other team might be less wanted because the other team, the opponent, is going to know they're going to want to do that and have that in their mind. So I think psychologically, I think it's going to have actually quite a big impact.
Ben, that's a really good pickup. We played a couple of games way back where we had pitches with pits in, like sections of the pitch that were just... And I remember watching Ian and Lewis playtest it, and they just stopped playing Blood Bowl, and it just started being Robot Wars. They were just pushing each other into the pit and off the pitch, and I could see a very similar thing happening here. I mean, it is only for one drive. I think it would be carnage if it was for an entire half. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
I mean, I'd play that game. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, a bit much perhaps. Okay, Ben, are you up next?
Yeah, I think so.
Number 12.
So necessary violence. Until the end of this drive, any player on your team that causes a casualty earns 3 SPP, rather than the usual 2 SPP.
Oh, so this is going to be 1.5 casualties as far as league commissioners go. That's fine.
If you have big guys, you want this. We've talked about skills. How a random strength skill on a big guy is usually always great. Your big guy just needs to get a block, a casualty, and he levels up. 1
casualty, and you're done.
Yeah. Crazy.
Any blocks untaken, you're rolling uphill for anything because those SPP are going to be all dust.
Snotting blocks everywhere. Just going for those sweet casualty points.
I kind of think that the passing one's more significant because for a start it's doubling it, where this is like a 50% increase. But also it's like I feel like it's a lot easier for a lot of teams to just pull off a pass.
It's like so much easier. And even if it's a 3+ to a 3+, it's still significantly better odds than knocking a dude down, breaking his armor, and casualtying. I think this should just be straight earns an MVP every time you casualty a guy to make it worthwhile. But that would be absolutely crazy. I like it. I think it's ridiculous. Number 13 is Fouling Frenzy. Until the end of this drive, any player on your team that causes a casualty with a foul earns 2 SPP exactly if they had caused a casualty by performing a block action. I love this. I think every team can benefit from this, and the teams that aren't likely to get SPP are going to earn the most from it. So this almost for me works like a catch-up mechanic, which I agree is really important.
We're having a chat about like in our like group chat we were talking about how fouling with Sneaky Git got a big buff. And this really might encourage fouling more, especially if you roll this. Like, you know, we might see some actual proper dedicated foulers in more teams other than just like goblins and things and stuff.
I think we will, and I think SPP buy will help with that as well. Sorry, Ian?
Seconding.
This would be a good way to give a fouler some SPP, because you struggle to give them SPP otherwise.
Well, that's it. Yeah. You've got a Snotling, you've got a Goblin, just go for a Stomp. Might as well go for a Stomp. Because if you get a casualty, you're going to get SPP. That takes that gamble and really makes it profitable. I like it. I mean, I'm going to go off the tracks here. What would you say to 1 SPP for a foul casualty forever anyway?
I would love that. I think it should be the case. And same with stab.
Yes.
To an extent, chainsaw. Yeah. I just think removing a player is what Blood Bowl is. You know, people are going to love that. So
star player points are there because the crowd loves them and they get more confident.
Exactly.
That's what it's about. It might warp the meta ever so slightly, but who knows?
Maybe, but they're so.
Like it.
Yeah,
I like it, but I think if you put SPPs on fouls, you would be having 32 fouls a game.
You know what?
I think that's great, isn't it? Is it not? Like,
when we see the Hobgoblin
cool
team, land,
I
think that's what that will be like.
There's also like 4 skills in Blood Bowl which are all about fouling. If you think you've got like Sneaky Get, Dirty Player,
Pile driver now. Yep.
Pile driver.
It is.
There's something else, right? Something else adds to a foul.
Oh, I can't.
Is it just those 3?
I don't know. Don't know.
Okay, but like that, you can build a player with that, and so having SPPs to allow that player to build it, I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, creeping up 1 at a time, it's not getting you very far very quickly. You need 14 to get your second skill. 14 casualty fouls. At that point, I would be very happy having a player deserve a second skill.
And on like a Goblin, they need that because it's secondary, isn't it?
This Goblin has got his second skill because it's fouled 14 people to death. He'd be infamous, and that's the whole point of the SPP system.
Exactly.
Anyway, Ian, would you take it away with number 14, please?
So number 14 caused lots of interest when the rules started to leak. It's Throw a Rock, and it was until the end of this drive, should an opposing player stall at the end of their team turn, you may roll a d6. On a roll of 5+, an angry fan throws a rock at that player. The player is immediately knocked down.
This is number 1 on my book of grudges on to the press and Nuffle table. Yeah, Ben, you say what you think on this.
It's just so close to being interesting, but it's like you might roll on this table, you might roll this result, and then if you might roll this result on that table, you might knock a guy down. It's just like so close. Now I don't mind stalling in a competitive game of Blood Bowl. I think it's a super important part of the game, and sometimes it's just how the half goes. It's a huge part of the game, and it depends on what your league is like. If it's early on in the season and you're playing a chill game, you don't stall because let's rack it up again. Let's run another touchdown. If you're playing to win, you absolutely stall because you need to stall to every time you stall, you get a few more percentage to win the game. It's a legit tactic. Split the opponent, protect your ball carrier, give them
force your opponent to make the risks.
Yeah. Exactly. That's literally the game. It's just hidden in a whole bunch of murdering and fouling, which I think is absolutely awesome. I don't know. Ben, Ian, what you guys? Just what do you think?
You nailed it. It's just so random. Like it seems so unnecessary. And I mean, I may as well say it. The reason why this is number one is because this will just never happen, or if it does, you won't remember it.
I think
you will not remember
it.
someone stalling and then remember that you've got to throw a rock at them. I just really don't think that's going to come up.
You remember actually doing it? Okay,
Yeah.
fine. Yeah, I was gonna say I would definitely remember that time I knocked out their ball carrier because he was stalling. But you're right. You're going to forget the trigger, and it's not going to happen. There is an actual page on stalling, which I think is what Ian you were talking about, wasn't it? Because that page was leaked.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, stalling came out first, and then everyone figured out it was to this, and it happens. The fact that none of us can remember what stalling is because we know that the chances are it might be one game a year this comes up in.
If you're playing every day. Sometimes a coach will want their team to run the clock down, opting not to score when they easily could. At other times, a team can get so caught up in the violence of the game, blah, 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 blah. If at any point during your team turn, a player belonging to your team meets all of the following criteria, that player is said to be stalling. If the player is open, if the player is in possession of the ball, if the player is able to activate and perform their declared action without the need to roll a d6, so really stupid or bonehead, if the player is able to move into the opposition's end zone without needing to rush or dodge, failing to activate a stalling player before your turn ends, even if it ends unexpectedly with a turnover, or activated that player but declining to score a touchdown, is stalling. So, yeah.
It's really confusing because they went to so much effort to rules lawyer this thing to say this is exactly what stalling is. This is what happens, which everyone rightfully so was just like, wow, this is a new thing. They're going to really address the stalling. Then there was all these polls saying, do you like stalling? Do you not like stalling on social media? And then it was just like, oh no, it's going to happen once every decade.
Do you guys think that this is in there so that, or because they were going to potentially have a optional rule for stalling in the same way that they do with scream at your opponent when they don't move their turn marker?
Yeah, I could see it as this was put in for the playtesters, and then the playtesters were just like, this sucks.
Yeah, don't do this. But they left it on the kickoff table.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It feels like someone in the design team had a really bad stalling experience. They put this in. They didn't realise that it just doesn't come up very much.
Yeah, no, let's just make it a 1 in 16 chance on an inducement, which you might take.
You know what?
Different if statements before you even get to it.
One thing I think would be really cool is have a stadium, a specific stadium that you and your opponent can agree to play in. It's called the Blood Bowl community, and everyone's very angry. And we've got rules for stalling, and it is literally just if your opponent stalls on a 4+, their guy gets taken out by a rock. That is a global rule forever. We've got stalling rules. Make that pitch, and I think you can choose to play with an optional stalling rule there. But I think having a 6 on 2d6 followed by a 1 in 16 chance to then roll a 1 in 3 chance is it's not enough if you want that to ever have a thing. So yeah, I mean it's novel.
Yeah. I agree. I think a lot of these could be applied to stadiums, to be fair. It's pretty cool for a narrative build your own stadium.
Yeah, I like that. Right. I'm just going to do the maths here. So would one of you guys take the next one away, which is going to be under scrutiny?
I think it's my one.
You, Ben.
Cool, yeah. So we have under scrutiny. Until the end of this half, any player on the opposing team that commits a foul action is automatically seen by the referee, even if a natural double is not rolled. So, way to kick a stunty team while they're down, right?
Until the end of this half, any player on the opposing team that commits a foul action is automatic.
Yeah, if you're up against goblins as your elves, I mean, you probably won't have the SPP the spare cash to get this, but
I think they've thought about that, Ben, because this one is till the end of the half. If it was to the end of the drive, then you could speed through, but this is designed to protect elves and Skaven. Interesting. By the way, it's a 2.8% chance for that other one to come up, which is way more than I thought.
Before the 5+.
No, including the 5+.
Including the 5+.
Yeah,
okay.
a six happens 5 times in 36, and then obviously, so it's interesting. I may have done the maths wrong. It may be 0.02. I don't know. Anyway, it's not very likely. Anyway, okay. Under scrutiny. It's just not fun.
Yeah, you're right. It is just not fun. It's just to remove it. It's like you can't block for the half. Well, maybe not that significant, but you can't blitz. It's more like the same.
It just I don't like mechanics that stop part of someone's game plan. That's why everybody hates blue mages in Magic the Gathering. And generally speaking, everyone hates the fact that dwarf blockers have tackle. Is just stop trying to stop me from doing my thing, man. Like, I can't block you, but I can foul you. And now it's like, yeah, you can foul, but you're going to get sent off. Ooh, it's a tough one. Yeah. It's a tough one.
So I massively disagree, but I will leave it until after the last one because it's a theme for me of the table.
Here we go. Yeah, we can share our global opinions on this.
Okay, Ian, finish us off, man. Number 16.
So 16 is intensive training, which is randomly select one player on your team that is available to play during this drive and that does not have the loner trait. Until the end of the game, that player gains a single primary skill of your choice.
Wow.
Okay. So, good things. Ben, say one good thing. Say one thing you like about this skill. This is like a coaching session now.
Yeah. I think the main thing I like about this is you can try a skill on a player. Like, sure, you can pick something that's really good for them, which is pretty cool. But if you're just like, yeah, what if they had this? You're not committing to it. And you can see if it works out. I think I really like that.
That's good. Ian, do you have anything nice to say to intensive training?
Just really drilling his positivity in.
It's the whole game as well, so you're not going to get a 1 or 2 turn. If you roll this on kickoff at the start, this could potentially be a 16-turn benefit.
Boom. Randomly select one player. So I was just thinking immediately get leader, which would be huge for example, an Imperial Nobility team that starts with 2 rerolls, Ben. Could be massive. Okay. Well done, guys. Thank you very much for taking part in this exercise.
What do you dislike about this, Ben?
Right. So I tend to be the league commissioner guy who helps people choose skills and what to do and things like that. And the reason we do that outside of the game is because it's like, oh, what's my skills? Let's go to this page. What do these skills do? Lots of players have 1 or 2 primary skills. Some have 3. That's up to 36 skills. You have to stop in the middle of your game and go, what skill do I give this guy now? So on the one hand, you're both right. It is cool. It's great that it's for the whole game, and it is really great to try out a skill because, I've given this guy guard and it's rubbish. I should have given him something else. Like, yeah, that's bang on. But I just think we're going to have a load of situations where 2 new coaches are playing a game and they're like, what do we do? I think... Yeah, just give him block. I mean, that's how most of the conversations go. But yes, someone who likes to stop and open the rulebook and read a bunch of stuff. That's just, again, it's cool. I like that it's not forever. I don't know. What do you guys really think about this?
No, I think you make a really good point. It's really annoying it's random, so you can't even think of it in advance. You don't know what you're going to get. Goes on a player who you didn't even consider leveling up. You're just like, oh, great. And then it's in your scenario where you then got to look at what the options. If it's on Chaos Pact, where they can choose from every skill in the game. Yeah.
It's interesting.
Mutation.
Yeah.
What does Monstrous Mouth do?
Block. Or you could try something new.
It should just say gives them block.
Yeah.
Gives them block and dodge. Everybody wins. Okay. Right, that's fantastic. So we've gone through the whole list. So I don't know, Ian. Should we let Ben go for his monologue now?
Let's have Ben go, and then I'll
itching.
balance.
Okay.
You have the floor.
I don't like about this entire system is that so many of these you're never going to even remember. What is the point? Like it's either you're going to forget it, or it's not going to come up, or it's going to be completely pointless. And you've spent, was it 50k to maybe get one, and you got to even like remember you had it because you can use it at the start of any drive or something. It's just it's just not going to come up. I think it would be so much better if it was like choose 3, roll a d3 at the start of the game, and then you have that. And because roll a d3 at the start of the game, and you can use this at the start of any drive, or like turn or whatever it is based on what it says. I don't know. It just feels one like it's never going to come up. 2, like you're going to forget half of them, like maybe trapdoors, or is it the one which like your boots have tampered with? Are you going to have to then mark that player, I think, to be -1 because someone is definitely going to forget that. And then 3, it's just so random. There's a lot to invest when you could just imagine if one of these said when a player is knocked out, they come back, they add 1 to their they add 1 to their dice roll if they come back from a KO'd result. Which is a keg. That's a pretty good result on this table, all things considered. You could just take that, and you can guarantee it the whole game.
Ian, what do you think?
I take Ben's points that a lot of it is going to be very rare, and you really are going to have to work to remember it. You're going to need tokens or markers or something, because you are going to get to the end of the game and go, oh, I forgot my prayer of Nuffle. And that's going to feel pretty bad. But I love it from the point of view of running an underdog team. And when you're a few 100k of TV down, this gives you another option. And actually, if you rolled 2 or 3 times on this table, the chances of getting one of those SPP ones starts to go up a little bit. And the ability to not get your team wrecked or come out with SPP extra from an underdog coaching point of view, that makes me really like, I want these. I'd almost be tempted not to try and get a Griffin to the team to try and roll a few times on this.
Okay, so I've got one thing that may change your mind ever so slightly. So when it comes to calculating a team's CTV, journeymen count, but nowhere does it say that inducements actually count towards your team value. So we're going to have to see if there's going to be an FAQ landed. But basically, you compare your team values. The lower team gets free money, and then you both can spend your free money or your treasury to buy stuff. Journeyman affects your CTV, but things like the team training or kegs and things, it doesn't seem to say anywhere that I can see that actually affects your CTV. So it says once finishing purchasing inducements, you should recalculate your CTV. But I don't know if that actually affects it. So what we might see, which might make it a little bit better, is that if you are 50k down and you take a keg, you might still count as 50k down, which means this is a complete free roll. Now, it is wild, as you can imagine, and it's swingy, and it brings about exactly the same issues that we've had with the play cards. I think we even talked about at the beginning of the episode, that some of them are garbage, some of them are great, and it's just a bit complicated, and there's extra stuff to remember. But that might make it a little bit better.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I feel like maybe paying for the inducement. Oh, well, no, because it's not. You're not paying. It's not really an inducement you pay for, is it?
No. So
I don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, it doesn't say that it counts towards a CTV. So maybe that actually, if you're 100k down and you take an extra reroll, you're going to get 2 rolls on this table anyway, even if you've bought that reroll or a couple of kegs or a wizard. So I think the goal is to be 150k down, take the wizard, take 3 rolls on this pitch, and just hope something good happens.
If it's like that, where it doesn't replace the inducement,
Yeah.
then my opinions of this table go way up. But I think my point will still stand that you're not going to forget it. And that's being hypocritical because we have said so many times on this podcast how we want like extra rules,
More
like stadium rules, like league rules, like special event rules.
You are right, Ben, and this is exactly what the community, what we saw on the community when it was first spoiled. A lot of tournament players were like, "Oh, seriously, now I've got to mark when someone's got loner. It's just and this guy's got stabs sometimes, but not others. It is extra. Blah, blah. You know what I mean? It's extra stuff to remember.
Yeah, even weather gets missed quite a lot.
You know
like how many times has it been raining and you forget and you can't really pick it up?
Yeah. Oh, shouldn't have caught that. Yeah, shouldn't have caught that. That's very, very, very true. I mean, some of it is really cool. I really like the idea of this either being on a card. As much as I don't like cards, the card is written. It is written right there. Yeah. You put it somewhere. You don't have to track anything. Sort of. I suppose if you put it on a specific player, you do have to track something, but at least you've got a visual prompt. Or putting these effects into a stadium, I think is probably, for me, the safest way for some of the SPP stuff.
Well, they are in the card pack. Press and Nuffle.
That's really good. That's really useful.
Yeah, it is actually useful.
What do you reckon?
If they do come, if they have, go Trip.
I think having the cards is really useful. I think particularly for new players, you're going to need that visual presentation of what it is there. Let's just hope that the rules are printed right onto the cards as they are in the rule book, because they weren't in the old set. I when I read the rules through, I was desperately trying to see if it was inducements and prayers of Nuffle, and I can't see where it says it's not. So for me, it was both, and for that at that point, it started to get, it's a catch-up mechanism, it's a mechanism for Sunty teams, and it's good if you've had a really bad game and you've got 2 or 3 players missing the game, and you're down and you're short of players. It just evens things up a bit more.
You won me over.
It's interesting. I
like them now.
That's the big difference, though. If you're not paying for it, what's it called? Age of Sigmar, Ben. They've got like something else that if you're 50k, if you're less points than your opponent, you get a free.
Yeah, it's like every 50 points you get a free command point.
But there's also like a tribute where you roll a dice and sometimes you get a magical sword or something. I don't know if that's still in this edition.
I don't think I've ever seen that come up, I'll be honest.
Exactly. I think that just sums everything up. I don't think we've really got anything else to say on that. What a way to absolutely bookend that. Look,
I don't know, the fact that on cards, I might actually, well done GW, I might get a card pack. No, yeah, I don't know now. That has really thrown me. I was always under the impression you have to pay for these as an inducement.
There's a couple of things I think we're going to have to see FAQ'd in this edition. This is one of them. The other one is whether what a result of a 0 is when you make a pass action. Because no one knows. Because a natural 1 is a fumble. A result of 1 after modifiers is wildly inaccurate. Nowhere does it say what a result of 0 or less is.
Oh yeah, because they had this, didn't they have this thing where someone had done like a chart and it was like you have your accurate pass and then you have your was it wildly inaccurate?
It was like accurate, inaccurate, wildly inaccurate, fumble, wildly inaccurate, fumble, inaccurate.
You could like get, it was you're more likely to get if you roll lower, it'll be a regular pass, like a regular inaccurate pass
than a wildly inaccurate.
That's something
that needs.
That's an intended thing, I believe.
Yeah, I think we all know that's supposed to be wildly inaccurate. But anyway, guys, it was brilliant to deep dive through this, and hopefully you guys listening have gained something, even if it's just that we're a little bit about this table. I love the theme. I love the rules. It's great. Each one of these is individually very thematic. The mole one is going to be awful, but it's probably the most thematic one there, which I love. And boosting the SPPs, I think you could probably tell, excites all of us every single time.
Yeah.
And I just cannot wait to roll that passing one and just farm SPPs, because that's just going to be wicked fun. nice little turbo boost. And like Ian says, it's a very good catch-up mechanic. Assuming stuff doesn't count towards team value. So listeners out there, let us know what you think, because I think this is going to be one of the great arguments of our time. Now, the couple of big arguments this year have kind of been done with. This is now what we're left with. So remember to vote.
And just on that one, just looking at the roster sheet in the rule book, it's got the current team value as a column, and it appears that it's just the players that are eligible. Any of the additional staff and team rerolls, there's nowhere to write inducements down to then add it up into that current team value. That is what I was kind of expecting, Ian. So that's good news. I think we're probably just a bit confused where we do a lot of tournaments and a lot of match play, and where we kind of like, you have gold to spend, but I guess it doesn't actually affect your team value ever. So that's interesting. Yeah, but that roster's only got space for 16 players, Ian. That's no good. Gonna need more than that. Right, fantastic. Ian, thank you so much for jumping on and hanging out with us tonight. It's great to talk some Blood Bowl, and thank you so much for coming and performing so well at MegaBowl. Great fun. Thanks for running it. It was 4 games of Blood Bowl in a weekend was as many games of Blood Bowl as I've played in the last 9 months.
Yeah, that is
very true.
That is true, isn't it? We're going to try and run a bunch of tournaments next year to make the most of this this format. So that's wicked. Right then, guys. Ben, thank you as ever. Always a pleasure.
Yeah, no problem.
We've got to wrap up now, and we will see you again soon. And I'm sure by that time, everyone will have a copy of the game, which is insanely exciting, and that there will definitely be no shortages. There'll be no rage on eBay. There'll be no scalping. And
it'll be so smooth. Everyone will be happy.
And those magical patches and coins will be available as well.
Yeah, that's true.
You get a tree. You get a tree. We all get a tree.
Nobody wants the trees. We all just want the squirrels. The squirrel star players. Oh man, it's going to be a fun 2 weeks, and I am looking forward to catching up with you guys again soon. So, ta-ra for now. Thanks for listening.
Bye.
See you later, guys.